Hello and welcome to another edition of The Take on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. And with me tonight, right here, is the Queen, one of the first people that ever sat down with us to talk legal stuff. Boy, that was 3 years ago now, Danielle. Can you believe that?
I can't. It's been a while. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it?
It absolutely has. Danielle Kelley happens to be, and I'm going to get this title right, Assistant Attorney General for the state of Florida with the Antitrust Enforcement Division. Now, that's a long title that really
Oh.
means what?
It really means that, the AG's office here in Tallahassee, well, and statewide, we have offices everywhere else too. We have a lot of different divisions ranging from criminal appeals to consumer protection. I just happen to be in the antitrust division up here in Tallahassee. So work with a great group of colleagues and other attorneys in this area. So it's fascinating stuff.
When we first talked, you were representing athletes, you were looking at NIL stuff, you were sort of transitioning out in the world of sports and legislation. How has the world changed since you and I first met 3 years ago?
Oh goodness, the house case that changed a whole bunch. To start off there, going back to when we were doing shows and we were still coming off the Alston decision and things that were going on, kind of the wild west, and everybody thought that eventually things would level out. I know the house case definitely promised some hope there for people. We'll get into, I guess, whether or not that's true. Right. But yeah, so, things have dramatically changed in that sense with the College Sports Commission and things along those lines. Other than that, speaking, I know we used to talk about football teams too. I can't say much about mine right now, so I'm going to hush about that. We'll just stick to the law. How about that? We'll talk law.
Florida State's on the come up. I always am picking Florida State to win games, so I'm sure it's just right around the corner.
I hope so. Truly.
All right. So I only have, by the way, welcome everybody. Appreciate you being here tonight. Make sure you follow us and subscribe. Give us the like button and then leave a comment or question. Let us know how we're doing. Danielle Kelley is with us tonight and is now on the state side, states' rights, however else you want to look at that, looking at all things college sports. What is the biggest challenge you see right now with the state of Florida? You can talk national as well, but what is your primary focus when it comes to college sports? Is it protecting the athletes? Is it protecting your state institutions? Obviously, Florida State being one of those. Is it more national leaning? Are you looking at more things like House versus the NCAA and also the College Sports Commission? Kind of what is your area that you guys focus in on that's probably the most important that everybody needs to be aware of? To me, I think 911 might be paying players. I'm a big paying players proponent and representation, but at the state level, nobody ever really talks about that.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify for everybody, my views are my views. I've always held them. They're not necessarily the views of my office. It doesn't indicate anything we're doing or going on up there. Just speaking from a state perspective, I've stayed the same. Take a bottom up approach with it. The athletes first are the most important to me, of course. State institutions being second, and then of course the national impacts that this has, because what happened in Alston was groundbreaking. I mean, it was a huge case that was decided by the Supreme Court. It unraveled an illegal system. I know I've caught flack for saying that on Twitter, but it was an illegal system. They made that very clear in the Alston decision. I think I have Justice Kavanaugh's concurring opinion pretty much memorized by this point. But, the points he made with it. But it's always going to be about the players. I think because, for so long we would hear the arguments, well, they're getting a free education or, this and that, not realizing they're out there risking injury and they're out there risking, so much. And I went to school. I graduated with Peter Warwick. I've seen what these guys have gone through, and knowing what they've gone through and what they've sacrificed to provide money to corporations to use broadcasting rights and stuff. And I've always said, because people get on this, athletes are just being greedy and this and that. I want everybody to remember this started over an EA Sports game.
Yep.
Because literally we all wanted NCAA football. I loved playing it too, but we couldn't have it because there was a fight over whether or not minuscule amounts would get paid to athletes to use their name, image, and likeness. And the NCAA threw a fit. And that started all this, and their greed did them in. So it's always going to be with the athletes. Then the state institutions, I feel bad for because they're navigating this process. And it's hard, especially with the House decision. Everybody's kind of handling everything differently. Everything's kind of in limbo right now. The College Sports Commission is trying to find their footing, which I don't think they have any. That's a subject for another day. And then, of course, the national impacts on antitrust litigation. That is very important, not just to this case, but to every case that comes across my desk that I deal with corporations and, dealing with conspiracies or contracts that restrain trade or monopolies or things of that nature.
So I'm just typing this, so I apologize. I wanted to get this up there. This is something I think that is a big deal. You and I, again, have an affinity. We've always agreed on that side with the athletes and wanting them to get representation, legal support, anything they need to be successful. At the same time, we want our schools and institutions to be empowered. But the CSC, I mean, the minute, I can't even remember if you remember this, but I was, even before the agreement was announced, I thought CSC really was never going to get off the ground. I just don't think they didn't put an enforcement mechanism to start. It was negotiated around, probably because nobody could agree what that would look like. And now we come back full circle. And is the CSC ever going to be practicable?
Personally, I don't think so. I agree with you. I think eventually we're going to have to deal with this. What the CSC, what the House settlement did is these two words we use, binding arbitration. And a lot of people like to respond to me on Twitter, fancy and stuff like that. I used to talk fancy too when I was in law school to sound cool. I don't do that anymore. I want to explain the law in the way that the public understands it. I'm not, Reese Witherspoon at the guy's trailer talking about mens rea and Legally Blonde. I'm explaining it so the public can understand it. When the House decision was done and the settlement was done, we have these words, binding arbitration. Come on, you've all seen Aaron Brockovich. Binding arbitration can become a problem. Right. Binding arbitration is what corporations like to use to get away with bad things and not necessarily get slammed in court by a judge or a jury. Not saying arbitrators aren't impartial, because they are. And in binding arbitration is great in some contexts, but check your cell phone contracts. Take a look at those. Most of you have agreed to binding arbitration without even realizing it. And that gives the corporation a less public forum, less of the pressure on the jury or the judge to make a point. And they can hide behind that binding arbitration. So that is a big thing with this, with the Nebraska CSC case that people are seeing as a win. However, binding arbitration is not necessarily precedential value that's going to be used in other contexts. It's not a case we have decided on an appellate level or a Supreme Court level that we're going to cite in briefs or argue in front of the court. So it's more of a piecemeal. We're just handling this one situation this time for Nebraska. Now, are they going to treat the University of Alabama the same? Are they going to treat other schools the same? That's ultimately going to be the question. And if they don't, if they treat them differently, then you're back to square one, because that's what the NCAA was doing all those years anyway. Let's face it. They were letting schools get away with things that they shouldn't have been doing and then penalizing others. So...
Well, now everything's exposed, right? The rock has been turned over. Now everybody's seeing the underbelly of college sports, which has always been there. Paying players and doing things under the table it's endemic. It's been going on since before I was born, right? So I totally understand why that can be sort of eye-opening for the general public. But along those regards, let's quickly talk about, and I know I'm going to run long. I could do this for hours with you, but I'm going to try to get to a few quick hitters and see if we can't get through some of these today issues that we've got going on right now. Antitrust exemption for the NCAA. Do they deserve it? And if they do, does it have to be tied to some sort of CBA or some other protections for the athletes?
If there were one, it would have to be tied to something to protect the athlete. However, I do not believe they are entitled to an exemption. And here is the thing, and I realized last night a lot of people on Twitter want an exemption because I think the public is really fed up with the whole NIL, and everybody keeps saying college sports is ruined and this and this and that. And
Right.
But the question is how to fix it. Do you fix it by giving the NCAA a get out of jail free card?
Exactly.
I'm going to be, our attorney general here in Florida came out with 4 other states and DC opposing the SCORE Act last year, very clear. And I'm proud of that fact, very proud of that fact, because to me, it's essentially giving a cartel a get out of jail free card.
Yes,
You messed
that's
up
exactly
the
what
system.
it is. Yes.
You messed up the system so badly, but we're going to say, hey, you can go mess it up even more. That is absolutely insane. And I understand people want quick fixes, and that will definitely provide one. That'll let them go back. But the issue of it being, there's a couple of problems with that. There is precedential value in U.S. jurisprudence, of course, that Congress cannot pass a law unturning a Supreme Court decision. So they can pass an exemption, but I could see lawyers arguing that angle as well. So,
and I'm so glad you hit up on the fact that it is a get out of jail free card. There's absolutely no doubt that the conferences and the NCAA are both duly responsible for all of the issues that we've been dealing with recently. But the idea is you beg Congress for a please save us, we'll never do it again type thing, without people understanding that if you provide that, now all of a sudden they can be revanchist, right? They can roll things back. They can say, no longer are we going to do this for the athletes. No longer are we going to pay for that. Is there a way to square that circle?
There really is. And I think the Supreme Court laid it out in Alston clearly what we need to do. You will notice that they keep mentioning the word labor over and over and over, and they're calling it what it is. And I think that the public has a last grasp of, I don't want to be the NFL and I don't want college football ruined. And I want to go back to just complaining that they're getting a free education. The genie's out of the bottle. You're not putting it back in. So we have to deal with it as it comes. The only way out of this, because people want price caps, right? People don't want to hear about an athlete getting $13 million. People don't want to hear about this. You want price caps. That's essentially what you're asking for. In-house settlement, you have price caps. Why did you get price caps? Because the athletes had a voice. They had legal counsel. They were part of the process, and they had to agree to the settlement. Okay. Now you're dealing with the NIL collectives and the CSC and these deals they're approving. The athletes have no voice. They're not employees. They're not engaging in collective bargaining or unionizing or any of these things to set price caps. You're asking for regulation without doing what is necessary to regulate the area. To regulate the area, you have to call them what they are. They're employees. And I understand, I've asked people, is it just the fact that you guys are so scared it's going to be the NFL? And James Coleman, my former co-host, former FSU player, raised a good argument. He said a lot of it has to do with workers' comp claims. They don't want to deal with that. And I hate to say this, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but it's like Justice Kavanaugh said when he was dealing with the price fixing issue with the NCAA in Alston. He said, price fixing labor is price fixing labor. In any other industry, this would be illegal, flatly illegal. That is like a group of law firms and legal entities getting together and saying, we're only going to pay lawyers $60,000 a year, period, across the board. I have no say so. I don't get to come in and say, but I build 180 hours on this case, or I work, 90 hours a week. I don't get to say anything. I have no say so whatsoever. That's illegal. You cannot do that. So, and if I'm providing an entertainment value, or I'm providing labor that is allowing corporations to market me and get rich, and I get injured, then guess what? In any other industry, workers' comp pays the bill. I don't know why in college athletics, and, I'm not talking about just separated shoulders or things of that nature. I watched, our star quarterback's leg literally get snapped in half against the University of North Alabama. Yeah.
That was horrible.
is it so bad that we would honor workers' comp claims against them? I mean, the thing about it is people want regulation without doing what is necessary to have the regulation. If you want price caps, then you need to go ahead and call this what it is, because there's no other way under antitrust law you're going to get away from it unless they get that exemption from Congress with the SCORE Act. Which I think is extremely dangerous. I know I raised the argument about a slippery slope. It would create, everybody's going to run to Congress and want an exemption at that point for anything. But you have to think about it in the context. People are thinking narrow-minded in college football on that. You have to think about it in the context of what we deal with as antitrust lawyers, reviewing mergers. Let's pretend Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile all decide tonight they're going to posse up and get together and become one company. What's going to happen to your cell phone bill? You know, but we're cell phone carriers. We provide a service that everybody needs, and we're doing this to help the public. Please give us an exemption. That could happen. I mean, those kind of things could happen. And so you can't start creating carve-outs for this. It's not deliberately targeted. Sherman was worried about railroads. He was not worried about college football, but the same principle applies today. And the NCAA had to face it. And I don't see why we would reward them for creating this mess to start with.
Well, because people want the shortcut. Nobody wants to do the hard work. I mean, we
Right.
know the answer is, as parents, you know that with your own family, right? You don't want to reward bad behavior. Let's talk about another one, because this is absolutely just crazy to me. Brandon Sorsby has requested a temporary restraining order to play college football, and he wants two things. He wants his $5 million NIL MMR package, which is more than he might make as a 15th or 16th pick in the NFL. And two, he's asking for, sorry, I made a mistake. No big deal. I'll just move along, do therapy. And I'm not trying to make that silly. Saying you have therapy and going through and then using a therapist as an example. Yes, I'm a firebug, but I want to be put back in the force to make more fires. It absolutely makes no sense to me. So from your standpoint, if this was in front of you and you were looking to get a temporary restraining order or to fight it, where does this make any sense for him?
It doesn't. I mean, honestly, gambling in sports is already a danger because you're involved with the very thing you're gambling on. So that's been a kind of a twist that's made me think, gosh, I really wish we did have a board that could regulate things and not just worry about whether or not to pay athletes. It's begged that question with me, but we're so concerned about, paying athletes overall. But yeah, that's a separate issue to me, in that, what he did, raises some definite concerns. So
I'm for the empathy. I was one of the first people out there that saw the initial report and said, let's not judge, right?
Right.
If you have an addiction, health, mental health, whatever that is, that should be treated seriously. I am not being tried about that at all. I just don't know how anybody that's reasonable can sit back and say the way to fix something is to put you right back in the middle of it, just in case you might have gotten over the problem.
That's exactly, that would be like me saying, I completely agree. And addiction is awful. And I agree with you. But that would be like me saying I'm an alcoholic and you take me to a bar. I mean, that's just,
Okay.
it doesn't make sense to me. So, I'm kind of a little different on that issue. It would be nice if we had a regulatory board that, would provide, say, sorry, you have to pay for what you did and sit out, but we want to help you. But like I said, right now we're all fighting over paying athletes or not. So we can't even get to the mental health issues right now.
Not at all. I want to reset really quick. Tonight's guest with me on the sit down on College Football Mafia Network is Danielle Kelley, who happens to be the Assistant Attorney General for the state of Florida with the Antitrust Enforcement Division. So let's talk states' rights versus federal rights. Right now, there's a conflict between state legislation, which says we're going to protect people's we're going to keep everything anonymous. We're not going to publish NIL and MMR dollar amounts. You're not accountable to a larger entity like the CSC versus federal, which is trying to drive downwards and say, this is the blanket. Now, here's the bed. Like, how do you square that circle as a state's representative?
Great subject, really great subject, because I will say Florida and Tennessee got to jump on this early by passing legislation. They could see what was coming, down the pike eventually. The two of the many states that tried to, deal with this at the outset, because here's the issue, and we're going to get a little constitutional on this. It affects interstate commerce, and we know how cases are handled under the Commerce Clause. If Congress passes a law, they have to prove significantly that it affects interstate commerce, and it affects interstate commerce. I think those findings would be there with college football, absolutely. However, you have the issue of states' rights, and the states' rights to, you're dealing with public universities that are funded by these states. So you would be passing a law essentially directing the states on how to run and fund their own public institutions. That would be a very, very, very curious case to go up to the Supreme Court under the Commerce Clause. I would venture to guess they would find enough impact on interstate commerce that the Supreme Court could, would potentially go along with the national government on that. However, like I said, states have already gotten a good jump on this. Even before the House settlement, there were consent orders and injunctions from states, prohibiting certain things going on. So yeah, that's a very curious question as to how that would end up. We would have to depend on Congress to pass a law and not completely botch it up. And I'll keep my opinions to myself on that.
Is that possible? I don't know about that.
They can't agree on much these days. So, but you would have to have significant findings on interstate commerce, of course. And like, because college football does that. And then you're also involving regional angles with it, with the conferences. So it's a big mess. I have long thought since day one, before House even came about, that this was going to end up as a Commerce Clause challenge eventually to the Supreme Court. And this may, if Congress steps in and acts, this may be how we finally get there.
I was just going to mention the 9 justices in Washington, D.C., but you mentioned it, so I'm not going to bring it up myself. Let me ask you about a couple quick hitters that just come out of the news the last few days. University of Oregon is suing a former player for $10,000.
I don't even know. I've heard about that one yet. I'm sorry.
The question is general. It's not about that particular case. My question is, if Florida State felt injured in some way and they wanted to recoup X dollars back because money they paid out to a guy and then he took off, right? Went to Tahiti or something. What is the point of the lawsuit? It can't be chasing 5 or 6 digit wins. Is it? Is there a bigger question there?
There's got to be a bigger question there than just because the Oregon certainly doesn't need the money from just one guy. Right. It's probably some type of a test case to establish. And here's where we're going to go back to: are they employees or not? Most definitely. But a test case to establish some kind of precedent in that area. Regarding, whether or not schools can sue, because now you're getting into a lot of money with now that the House settlement is allowing the universities to directly pay these players. That is actually a case that it's probably going to pop up more often rather than not. So that's a very curious question. Then you're going to get into athletes also wanting to sue universities in the reverse, of course.
Oh my gosh.
That brings in the 11th Amendment sovereign immunity. So you have a whole nother, with all this, you could just pretty much take the first, 11 amendments and deal with all of it. So that's pretty much how it goes.
So if Danielle Kelley was the god of all things college athletics, would you continue to try to Band-Aid the current system, or would you just tell everybody, let's hold where we are right now. Let's take a step back and let's take 2 years to build something that actually will work in the future?
No more Band-Aids. No more Band-Aids. People want quick fixes. They want Band-Aids, and they don't realize, and that's one thing with the College Sports Commission. And I know some people have differing opinions. People consider it a big win. It definitely was a big win for the College Sports Commission, most definitely. However, you have brought up so many issues that are going to be impacted by that: federalism versus states' rights, on down the line, and eventually it's going to get challenged. So do you want to keep doing these Band-Aids, and then this goes back before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says you're doing the same thing you did before, you're just calling it something else. Now it's not
Right.
the NCAA, it's the CSC. The
Yes.
CSC does have a settlement authority behind them, though. That's a little different because that has more teeth. But what happens when lawyers actually start filing in the suit in California for enforcement of, the House rules?
Right.
Because you have a judge with enforcement authority. We've yelled for years, the NCAA has no enforcement authority. College Sports Commission really doesn't either, outside of binding arbitration. But I mean, what's going to happen? This judge does. What do you do when you go back and you file some kind of motion or whatever, motion to enforce or whatever gets filed, and eventually, we either water down the settlement or we throw the whole thing out completely. Because here's the thing: the conferences don't really. Another angle lawyers are arguing, and I'm seeing that I would argue, is if you look at the conferences that have joined the House settlement, obviously you kind of had to. You kind of didn't have a choice in order to be able to play. And if you've taken away the choice for them to be able to play, now you're getting into my area of law again. And so that's the point. You're going to keep doing these little Band-Aid fixes to where you're coming back to the same premise that you're violating the law. And eventually a court of law is going to tell you that. And then you're going to be back to square one anyway. So take 2 years and fix it. Build a system that actually works, that protects the athletes and doesn't ruin college football, contrary to everybody's opinion, because it is completely doable. It's completely doable.
I know you're not speaking for the place you work. Let's assume you lived in Utah and you had a lawsuit or a challenge that you could possibly pursue against the CSC or the House settlement as well. Is that something a state like Florida would invest in, or are you guys just going to let sort of sleeping dogs lie, not really get involved? Maybe you can't even answer that question.
Well, I mean, I can't. If there's anything that's actually going on, I can't talk about it. But
of course.
Yeah, of course. But I can say publicly, and that doesn't mean anything is going on. Just by the way, guys, I can say publicly that our Attorney General has come out strong against the SCORE Act. So yeah, and definitely, he's monitoring and he's paying attention to what's going on. And do I believe that Florida has actually been more proactive in this area, like I said, along with Tennessee and some other states. So I think if it came down to it, Florida would, potentially do what they needed to do to protect their interest here in their public universities and athletes. So like I said, it affects interstate commerce, and Florida has a vast economy with great institutions here in the state. I have to admit, UF and Miami are included in that, but yeah. So he is a great AG. He's been very proactive in everything he's done. So I was very pleased that he was one of the ones that came out with the other 4 states and DC against the SCORE Act last year. So that doesn't surprise me at all. He is very in tune with what's going on and very in tune with enforcing what needs to be enforced.
I love that so much. I love it absolutely so much. It's great to hear. I wish Utah did more of that. They've done some stuff to curtail the viewability of their NIL and MMR deals and whatnot, but they haven't put their foot in the ground and said, no, you know what, from a baser level, we got real issues here. It's not so much about expediency. Okay, I've got one last question for you, and take you an extra couple minutes.
Okay.
Let's talk about the Big Ten and the SEC potentially breaking away. I just wanted to set the table that I don't think there's enough political muscle to pull that off. I know it's what they want to do, and I think it's what they're trying to intimidate people, making threats and saying they'll go silent and all these other things. What is your thought on that? Is there enough political capital that those, 33, 34 schools, whatever that is, has enough muscle to go out on their own, do you think?
I think they're definitely going to threaten it repeatedly. I don't know if it's stemming from the fact that, the CSC Nebraska ruling, we're going to be held by the same deals. If it's because I think there's still like $120 million in deals that haven't been approved yet, the majority of which are SEC and Big Ten deals that come through the CSC obviously. So I don't know if it's them throwing a fit, because we have to keep in mind there's another legal angle to this. The collectives and, some of the universities have promised these players money that they cannot now pay if the CSC says no to a deal, or if it's in excess of the cap that the university is allowed to pay under house. So there's, the schools are at danger of getting sued as well, or the collectives. Like I said, that would be a sovereign immunity issue with public universities. But I think, I think they're going to threaten it. I don't know. I mean, the frustration is bad enough right now that I think that, if I would love to tell you they don't have the political capital, but they're the SEC, and the Big Ten. But I think everything's in such chaos right now that would just add more to it. So I don't think that would necessarily happen, but it could. I mean, I don't put anything past them, especially if you're withholding deals and their athletes are going to suffer. They're not used to, I guess, being on the same playing field as everybody else. And that doesn't mean the CSC is going to run things correctly. I still feel that some deals may be scrutinized harder than others, depending on what university you play for. I'm sorry. That's just, it's the NCAA mentality, and I don't see the CSC as much different.
Oh my gosh. That was the fastest 31 minutes. I swear, Danielle, I am so appreciative that you spent some time with me tonight. We will do this again. Have to. Now that you've put your head up and you started doing stuff again, I'm not going to let you get away. She is Danielle Kelley. She is the Assistant Attorney General for Florida and the Antitrust Enforcement Division. I'm going to give you the final say. Why don't you tell everybody where to find you on Twitter and kind of what you do with all this fun stuff?
Well, I'm at dkelly21 on Twitter. I actually probably have been posting more on Facebook lately because I do the lengthy posts. But yeah, and I'm old, so that's what my children tell me, at least, Facebook. But super excited. I was in private practice for a really long time dealing with this, like you said. Super excited to be on the state side of it and see how everything works. Of course, all the NIL stuff was happening at my office before I got there. But, it's amazing, and it's refreshing, like I said, again, to see a state like Florida and an attorney general so tuned in and, willing to stand up for our state and what is right always. So it is a blessing to work there. So you guys can find me anytime on Twitter or Facebook.
And I attest that she engages. She will talk to us idiots on X, and I really, really appreciate her for doing that. The show's going to continue after Danielle leaves. We're going to do call-ins, and I'm going to talk to the Daniel Gygax. But I just really want to thank you so much, Danielle, for coming on tonight. And there's so many more questions, not enough time. So we'll do it again soon, okay?
Thank you. Great to see you, my friend, as always.
You too, always. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Oh my gosh, that is fantastic. I cannot believe how fun that was. Danielle Kelley, Assistant Attorney General for the state of Florida in the Antitrust Enforcement Division. And I just want her to know she can always give me tips. I'm a good tip person. I don't tell anybody any secrets. I appreciate her being here tonight. We're going to continue the show, though. We're going to do call-ins in just a little bit, and I want to get to some of these other issues that I actually have articles about that should be really interesting. But right now, I'm going to bring on somebody else to the show. Before we do call-ins tonight, we are going with Daniel V. Gygax in the house, the West Virginia Mountaineer himself. And wow, what an amazing interview that was.
She knows it. She's lived it. And let's just say that the state of Florida got a good one.
Oh, that goes without saying. I don't even know what to say. I'm just trying to. I lost all my little banners.
You want me to send it to you again? What I sent to you earlier?
No. That's not what I'm looking for. My stupid phone number. 801-899. I just got to get this on there so people have a chance to call in. We are live, so that's how these things work sometimes.
Hey, live TV.
Yeah, hey, I love it. Okay, there are a couple topics you wanted to talk about, and I want to get to those. We're going to do each one of them in turn. Quickly, let's talk about, and let me bring this article up. We're going to start with Brett McMurphy tonight. Let me bring this to stage, and I'm going to go to a different view here, Daniel. Apologize. Let's get both of us in here. This is the one I want. Brett McMurphy, let me post the link to this, and then I want your comment and question about it, all right? I want to hear what you're thinking. By the way, I didn't even have a chance to do shout outs that whole time. I was looking at so many other menus. I
You
have
got to
people
go in there
doing
with Earl Carr. He's
super chat after super chat. I didn't even see those there. Oh, Earl, you're gonna
not
hate
just
me.
the super chats, but the
Oh
memberships.
my gosh! I just hang on a second. Just hang on a second. I didn't even have a chance to go to any of these comments. Give me 1 second here, Daniel. Oh my gosh, this is absolutely amazing and incredible. I want to do these shout outs, and I'm going to show everybody what the shout outs are. That's how important they are to me. Let me go here. Let me go right. Is that right? Is that right? There we go. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to close this so we don't get a conflict. Oops, I'm already doing streaming. All right. These are all the people that got new memberships. And this is incredible. Oh my gosh. Earl just went nuts tonight. All right. Devil Frog, the Devil Frog, OG Mafia member. Good to see you here tonight, Devil Frog. I haven't looked at my LinkedIn in 3 months, Devil, just so you know. Don't take it personal. I haven't done anything on LinkedIn. Work has been crazy. The Big Lubbock, Scott KSU in Florida, Nittany 89, Tide Grad 88, Bob Swanger. Didn't get a gifted membership, but he says BYU football, it's going good. Let me continue down. Morris Simmons, the Moon Man, Jennifer Santinel, Santinel, right? Jennifer Santinel. I want to make Jennifer Santinel, obviously a fan of Florida State University. Nelio also got a member. Cranky Tiger Y8U. Let's go down more. Crypto Kid, Jeff Gott, Trojan Fight, Big Old Bird Boy, TR Watson, all got new memberships. And lastly, but not least, we got 5 more. Trent Brown got a new membership. My
Your brother.
He is. He's not my brother, but he's my brother from another mother.
Yep.
Oh, my Rod, the Average Joe, DVB Thorn, and Troy V8302. Is that it? That is all the new members.
Yep.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being patient with me. Don't be mad at me. I swear, I just didn't have time to get to all these memberships. That's how quickly that interview went. So, Earl, I owe you. I owe you a big A&W root beer. Next time you're in Utah County, you need to send me a text and let's get together for lunch. I really
get him a cougar
really
tail.
want to meet you. Give him a cougar tail. Yes,
Yeah.
Exactly. Which
those
Daniel
are yummy, by the way.
BYU cougar tail in the house. Are there any other super chats? Caden the Diesel Freak, NIL is messing with college football. It's stupid. Caden says for $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Caden. I appreciate you. And one more, a $5 super chat. Caden happens to be a long-standing OG member at this point of College Football Mafia. It's not employment, but it's college football becoming like the NFL. It's like teens selling their souls to work for Disney and Nickelodeon to be famous. I don't know. That's an interesting take. I might have to come back to that. I'm not sure that's what it is at all. I look at athletes as the actual, they're the thing people are showing up to watch. It's not the coaches. They're not showing up to watch. I don't care how good your cheerleaders are. That's not why people are showing up. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a conversation we'll have to have in the future. Earl getted another membership. I want to make sure he gets credit for that. So that is a total of 21 memberships. Earl Carr, brother, I appreciate you so much. This is so awesome. And again, I apologize to everybody. We were in live chat there, and I had to get Danielle's time. I had no other thought on my mind than to get all those questions answered, and you saw how quickly it went by. Okay, let's quickly reset. Daniel Gygax, let's take this Brett McMurphy article. Let me post the link to it. again. Maybe I just did it, but I'll do it again. And I will read it, and then I want your comments. Iowa State AD Jamie Pollard on SEC Big Ten threatening to break away to form its own league. And I will just say this. I was going to run the video, but I think just right here, I'll just read his quote. Let them break away. We should break away from them. Let them go, but they have to go in all their sports and see how fun it is to play baseball, softball, and track when it's just the 20 of you. I think it's not nearly 20. It would be closer to 36 or 37. That's what I think we should do. But I'm one person, and that's probably a little more draconian. That's how I feel about it. Like, let's quit talking about it, quit threatening, go do it. But if you're going to do it, you don't get to just sit, just do it in football and then keep all your other sports with us. No, take them all, see how fun it is. Daniel, that was a mouthful, but he said the quiet part out loud there, brother.
He's the first AD or president, anybody that's high up in an administration for a university, Division I university, that's came out and said, if you want to go, but you have to take everything. Baseball, softball, track. The problem is that everybody thinks that this is just a football only decision. The problem is that we're talking, every university has anywhere from NCAA minimum 16. Some of them have up to 36. So what do? Do you sit there and call their bluff and say, hey, if you want to leave, you got to leave everything? And it gets complicated. And even then, if we're going to talk basketball, the NCAA just expanded their tournament. And the sole reason why is so that they can have more teams from the ACC and Big 12 and SEC and Big 10 in. Yes. So if the SEC says, we're leaving, the NCAA might say, okay, we'll go back down to 64. We'll just eliminate those spots completely. Have fun playing your own tournaments. We're talking a lot of what they call pay games too. Like Sanford playing at Alabama, that makes Sanford's budget for the year. Or Mercer playing at Auburn. Those guys are so reliant on the big boys playing them every so many years to make their budget. WVU every year plays one of the D2 schools as an exhibition, and that's their budget for the year in basketball.
So let's cut it right there, and let's just start drilling down into these individual things.
Yeah.
So he's basically throwing the gauntlet.
Yes.
Jamie Pollard, the Iowa State AD, is throwing the gauntlet, and basically it's a challenge. It's an open challenge saying the quiet part out loud, go ahead and go, but if you go, it's for everything. So the question I ask you before we move on to the next super chat and another article we want to talk about, do you think this is a bluff? Do you think that the P2 breakaway, in your opinion, is a bluff, or are they already building it and then we're just waiting for the announcement?
I think it is a part of bigger negotiations. They're saying, we will leave. And now you've got an AD that now says, if you leave, you have to take everything. And they'll be outvoted. There's only 34 schools out of the Big Ten and SEC.
Yeah.
So that's, let me see, that would be 104 left in FBS with 138 starting this upcoming year. So now where do we go? Do you sit there and just say, okay, see you guys later? But also you got to remember there's certain states like Georgia and Georgia Tech. I don't think it's legislated, but I know that they have to play each other, or you're going to end up having part of the legislature go nuts. You've got Iowa State. You've got Kentucky playing Louisville. What happens to those games? Do those games just go by? And you don't have enough inventory whenever it comes down to a 16-team SEC or an 18-team Big Ten, they would have to add schools, at minimum 24 for both, just to make the math work out enough to where you can play a variety of games to make it valuable to a broadcaster. And
So
then we haven't even talked about the little Catholic school in Indiana. What do they do? Do they finally are they pushed into a corner because now a third of their schedule just goes pop gone? We don't know.
I just went through this, and the earlier guest, if you missed it, was Danielle Kelley. She is the I want to get her title in here again because I just love talking to her. Danielle Kelley, the assistant AG for the state of Florida. That's not this guy, but she was just on, and we did talk about the P2 breakaway, the idea that these conferences have a lot to consider, and probably the biggest question, and then we can move on to the next article, is the political part of it, the politics that says we have enough gumph to walk in and tell the Senate and the House in Congress, we're better just because we have bigger media values. We're better because more people watch our football games than everybody else. And please give us an antitrust exemption, and please let us re-governance everything in our sports. And by the way, we want to keep our access to the biggest tournament outside of the outside of the World Cup, and that is the college basketball playoff every year.
But not every politician's a sports person.
Oh, I know it.
The former vice president of the United States represented Oakland, California, and could not get her on the record about the Athletics leaving because she didn't care. She wasn't a baseball person. She wasn't a sports guy. Well,
it just makes me laugh.
Yeah, really and that's the thing. You have politicians that don't give a whit about what's going on with athletics. I get it. I understand completely.
Right.
And that's just the way the world works. Or like they're in the state of West Virginia, Marshall University was getting the lion's share of the money because the governor, guess where he went to school at? He went to school at Marshall. So they got a really nice baseball stadium. They got upgrades to their basketball arena. They got all this state funding that was shipped off to Huntington. That happens. The legislature signed off on it. Even though you have grads from both schools in the legislature, there's nothing you can do to prevent it.
Right. Go ahead and finish. Sorry.
What I was going to say is that whenever myself and Fergie were on, there's 11 states that are in the Big Ten footprint. There's 11 states in the SEC footprint.
I know. Yeah.
So that's 22. That's 44 senators. But the thing is, not every senator cares about athletics. We know. We dealt with it here in Oakland.
I think we will find out, though, that all those little hairs will be exposed. I firmly believe that at the end of the day, everybody's going to be called to account. And this is not 1996. This is not 1984. This is not even 2001, 2002. Everything is social now. So trying to get things under the radar just because you have the power in your hand in that moment, and media does that, does not mean that you can restructure the entire world and, oh, by the way, also participate in this wider world. All right, let's get to a super chat, and I'll get to the next article or comment you made that I wanted to cover. Florida Gators in the house. That would actually be Kenneth Maynor, who is also an East Carolina Pirate. He changes depending on the show he's watching, I think. A valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. $5 super chat. Says the Big Ten and the SEC are the bullies that threaten you for lunch money, then cower in fear or flinch when you fight back. Just posturing. Kenneth, I tend to agree with you.
I agree.
Think you're blustering and you're being a blowhard.
I think this is a part of getting more money off the top with the next CFP negotiations.
Yeah,
that's
it's just
all
more
I
leverage.
think this is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. By the way, if you want your comment to be read, you can tell we're almost an hour in. I've only read super chats and we've only done gifted memberships. By the way, I'm going to call everybody. If you received a gifted membership in chat, would you mind shouting out Earl Carr, the #1 BYU fan, and certainly a fan of our show. He's been with us almost 3.5 years, which is the longest of almost anybody, except for maybe my parents. I appreciate him being a subscriber and all that he does for us. So shout him out. Tell him thank you for that gifted membership. And then I would just ask, if you receive a membership, consider giving one to somebody else. You have access to all the member videos, all our special member shows live, and some of the best quality videos on college sports you will ever see in your life is in our library. And I encourage everybody to go and look at those once this show is over. All right, let's get to your next article, Daniel. We got to try to move so we can do the calls. I know that's one thing you like. All right, let's go here. This is from Mike J. Astasi. Astasi. It says A-S-T-I. That's Astasi?
Yeah, that's how we... Astasi.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, X doesn't do that well. Anyway, no. I posted the link if you guys want to go to it on Twitter as well. Sorry, I hit that. Give me 1 second. I got to reset that. West Virginia AD Ren Baker, and I'm going to ask you. I know West Virginia is your school, but we got to keep it to shorter answers, yes. Daniel. Right? All right. I've not got to a point where we have to take away from the other sports to be where we want to be at football and men's basketball. And I will just give you the cue. What that means is don't close down other sports just to play college football or men's basketball. All right. So why did this stand out to you today or the last couple of days?
It was an hour interview that Ren Baker did this afternoon. And it is pretty indicative because everybody is asking what is going to happen to all these other sports. At WVU, they've got 18 and they're in the same financial crunch that a lot of other schools are, except Ren Baker isn't yelling and screaming that we need a lot more money like Jamie Pollard, the previous person that we talked about. He needs football and men's basketball to be successful. They're the ones that pay all the bills that you have at the university, athletic wise. So he hasn't gotten to where he's going to start looking through and cutting things, which is good. The problem is that whenever does swimming stay? Does tennis stay? They started golf a couple of years ago. Now, here's the one thing that worked for them is that they're giving more scholarships to Olympic sports. And those scholarships offset the House settlement, the $20 million.
Okay. I mean, that you're stating facts. You're stating kind of how we got here. Why does it matter? I mean, that's
why does it matter?
Here, right?
Because
is the why. Why does it matter?
Why does it matter? Because those students still rely on scholarship. They're not making NIL. Name somebody on the golf team making NIL. Name somebody that's on the...
There may be. We better be careful. There may be kids getting...
Tiger Woods at Stanford doesn't exist at WVU. But we're talking that people on the tennis team are not making NIL. They're there just to get a scholarship, get their education paid for, graduate and leave. That is it. That is all that they can do. They're not going to go pro. I mean, it's tough to sit there and say, hey, you've done blank, 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 like the wrestling team at WVU. They're really good, but how many of those are going to do anything else in the wrestling world after they graduate? They're not, but they have a degree. That's great because now they have that door open saying, hey, here's my degree from West Virginia University, hire me. I like it. I like that they provide that scholarship to those kids. The problem is that football and basketball has to pay the bills. Basketball's starting to turn around after what happened, and all this goes back to the Huggy DUI incident. Football's starting to turn around a little bit, but 4-8 last year, that wasn't that good. You've got to come up with a way to get excitement to get people to spend money on football and men's basketball.
Okay. All right. For my part, not that my opinion matters at all, but I firmly believe that we're getting very, very close to the whole thing collapsing. I don't think what's going on right now can go on much longer. There has to be something to break the logjam, and it's going to be a lawsuit of some sort because Congress in no way, shape, or form is in condition to pass any legislation.
Well, even
And
with a
I think
lawsuit,
all this other stuff's
yeah,
going to go away, and we're going to end up in that world. That's my opinion.
yeah, and that's the problem that you have. If you have another lawsuit, it's going to take years going through the courts. And then whenever it finally gets signed off, sort of like the House settlement was, okay, this is what the NCAA agreed to, and this is what the attorneys for the players. There was still, I want to say it was 1,200 players that were not a part of the House suit that still have some type of pending legislation or pending lawsuit against the NCAA. It's going to take decades going through the courts to that finally resolve.
If you're just joining us early in the show, the first half hour, actually, I had Danielle Kelley, and I always got to give her, this title's awesome. Assistant Attorney General for the state of Florida with the Antitrust Enforcement Division. We're almost an hour into the show. I want everybody to make sure they recognize that first part of the show is coming from somebody that's not a YouTube lunatic like I am, not somebody on X that has nothing to do but watch West Virginia sports like Daniel does. It really matters. And if you listen to her quotes, and there were some dead quotes in all of her answers, and I think the biggest one for me is that it is not tenable what's going on right now, and the states' rights versus federal. I'm going to say that again. States' rights versus federal rights is probably going to come down to some sort of a challenge all the way to the United States Supreme Court.
And that'll take years.
Yeah. And in the meantime, where do we end up, right? That is the question. Where do we end up? Okay, let's do some comments. I've done no comments except for the super chats tonight. It's not because I don't love you. You know, I'm here for everybody watching live right now, but it's because we've been wall to wall. We've been packed, and I'm going to just start shouting out people that I've picked on comments. I just want everybody to know I defer to member comments always. That would be just like MBM here, who has this little signal or sign next to his name. I believe that's a StreamYard sign. Anyways, regardless, subscriber to our YouTube, which you can do. If you hit the dollar bill next to the comment section, you can leave a super chat. Certainly leave us a comment, question, something back. Give us a thumbs up. And last but not least, consider becoming a member, just like MBM here is, of the College Football Mafia family. He says wrestling and golf won't cut it at OSU. So that's Oklahoma State.
But what about the swim team? What about the diving team? What about tennis?
I'm telling you, I would not be shocked if there aren't schools like Stanford paying NIL dollars for swimming, paying NIL dollars because what have they done in football? You can't say they're 100% committed in football. So where's that money going? It has to be going somewhere. In my opinion, it's going to be going to those Olympic sports because Stanford's about national championships. Yes, football is a national championship to compete for, but right now Stanford is still not all in. I think just look at all the results on the field. You can tell kind of where they're struggling. Another $5 super chat from Mosito X in the house. I love him so much. Thanks so much for being here. $5 super chat for, at a minimum, 3 to 4 of the G6 would be lining up to play the Big Ten or the SEC. Jamie Pollard has no clothes.
How's the ratings going to be for those games? If you load up that schedule, and let's say that you have that SEC Cupcake weekend before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
What's the rating numbers on those? Not great. But the thing is, you can talk to G6 and get them to play. But the thing is that G6, after a while, how many people are going to watch, let's say, Auburn play Coastal Carolina? Or let's say let's go Auburn, Georgia Tech, who is in the ACC, who would be on the outside looking in.
But according to Jamie Pollard, there's only 2 conferences that matter, and everybody else is G conference. Let me see if I can find that. I know I bookmarked it. Give me 1 second. I will. Here we go. And I'm going to try to bring this up. Hopefully this plays, everybody. I apologize if it doesn't. Daniel, let me know if you're hearing the audio, okay?
Okay.
Let's quickly listen to Jamie Pollard himself. And let me bring it up. Here we go. Does the Emperor have any clothes?
I mean, I said it 3 years ago.
And it's not playing audio. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I didn't. You heard audio? Oh, did you? Okay. Well, I can't hear it for some reason, but I'll play it. Let's go.
I mean, I said it 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Let them break away. I'd say I would turn it around and say we should break away from them. Let them go, but they have to go in all their sports and see how fun it is to play baseball and softball and track when it's just the 20 of you, and that's what I think we should do.
I mean, what do you do with that, Daniel?
You can't. There's not much you can do. I can understand Pollard's frustrations because there's a lot of schools in the ACC and the Big 12 that are absolutely screwed. And like I said, if Rim Baker comes out tomorrow and say, hey, we've got a $20 million hole in our athletic budget, we got to come up with some way to fix it. I get it. I understand. A lot of these universities are now having to make hard decisions because they have to spend $20 million on the student athletes. I don't know what to do, how it's going to work.
Boy, oh boy. We have so many Big 12 fans. We have so many Iowa State people that watch the show and comment and really get into a Stormy Cyclone being one of them. I don't know. Stormy, if you're out there, shout out. I don't have a current comment from you, but if you're there, I'd love to hear from you, or maybe even a little bit you can call in. But I will be perfectly honest, coming from a school that was buried for 50, 60 years and has had to fight for that visibility, I can tell you right now, you would never hear anybody in administration say, go ahead and leave us, go ahead and break away, we'll relegate ourselves. The only way BYU gets out of sports is if, and this could happen, is if the Big Ten and the SEC break away. I think there's a distinct possibility that BYU cancels football. Right now, it's sucking so much money, and the organization is so. I mean, everybody is. BYU's not unique in this regard.
How profitable is BYU football, though? WVU makes
tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, makes somewhere around 30. Like after all the bills are paid, somewhere around 30. I think it was like $36 million just off football, and that's off of gate receipts. That's people showing up. That's not even counting the part where they get paid for the TV money. And I bet you
exactly.
BYU is the same way. Yeah,
all of that is true. At the same time, they fought and scraped and did everything to get to where they're at now. To again, and I'm going to say the word, people aren't going to like it, but this is relegation. This is self-relegation. This is you throwing your hands up and say, I surrender. Jamie Pollard, the Iowa State athletic director, is basically saying, fine, leave. Take your toys and go home. Go do. I don't care what you do. We're just going to move along and keep doing our stuff. The difference is, and this is what Jamie does not address, and I listened to his whole interview, is what happens when the media dollars dry up because you're not playing top-level college football.
Now, here's the other question I have with Pollard is, has he talked to Iowa's athletic director? Because that's all ran by the same board. Does somebody in the legislature there in Iowa say Iowa Hawkeyes have to play Iowa State no matter what? That can happen because you're now dealing with state governments.
But do you think really, okay, let's have this discussion. I don't think that's the question. I don't think it's a matter of getting an off game or being scheduled or any of these other things, because you can work all those things around. Those are all individual details. They're not part of the larger scheme. The larger scheme is who is playing tier 1 football and who is not. Realignment, it's all football, people. Yeah. There's no realignment on basketball. Until UConn goes somewhere in the A4, there is no realignment associated with football. With basketball. So If that is the axiom and that's what it's been so far,
Yes.
are you willing to say, okay, fine, we surrender? We'll take whatever we can get and go off and do our own thing. I find that very hard to believe, although this quote came out of left field. It's one thing to assume these things.
Yeah.
It's another thing to have a sitting athletic director for an A4 school, Iowa State, come out and say, enough is enough.
Well, you saw the letter that was drafted. 26 of the 32 Division I conference commissioners signed.
Yeah.
I think Sunbelt didn't sign. Ivy League, and like I can't remember the other two, but the big two glaring ones missing from there was the SEC and Big Ten. And
as everything has been, all those discussions have been about realignment, about doing a super league, all those, they've always been in the back burner, always.
And I think a lot of it is that they're going into negotiations for the CFP. They're saying, we want this, and we'll take our ball and play just between the two conferences. I don't see it happening, because those other 26 conferences, they all have a vote in the Division I athletic space. And they could go through and say, if you don't want to play Division I football, hey, guess what? You're not going to go into the basketball tournament. You're not going to go into the baseball tournament. We're not going to have you at track. We're not going to have you in any NCAA sports. And that will probably make them say, okay, well, we'll come up with a compromise. That's what I think is going to happen, that all those other conference commissioners are saying, this is what we want. It's not always about the SEC and Big Ten.
Although I don't think, was the Big 12 and the ACC, did they sign that either?
Yes. Yeah. Phillips and Yormark signatures is on that.
I'm trying to remember who were the 6 that didn't do it.
Sunbelt wasn't, Ivy League, SEC, Big Ten, and I can't remember the other 2 off the top of my head. Oh, no, it just went blank. But there's,
I wish I could fill in.
Signed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I read that yesterday or 2 days, whenever that came out, and I didn't prepare that for tonight, so I apologize. I can't really.
No, it's okay. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But like I said, we're now looking at maybe these other conference commissioners are saying, we're done placating a Sankey. We're done placating anybody in the Big Ten. I don't know.
Man. I'm telling you right now, it's a game of chicken. I just don't even. I know this. Jamie Pollard, speaks from the heart.
Yes.
I think he's true. I think he definitely cares about those. He has regulation and care for. I think he is an advocate for Iowa State. I don't think there's any question about that.
Iowa State will go out and say that we're in an ugly situation and we need help.
Yeah, he will say that. At the same time, he always hasn't had a lot of people backing him up for some of the stuff he said. There's been requests for comments for past quotes, and other schools, especially in the Big 12, are going, I don't know about that. So we'll have to see. But Iowa State right now is the tip of the spear. How's Iowa State goes, I think, and I think this is a perfect comment here from friend of the show, Stephen Vitt. I think Pollard knows what's going to happen. Maybe insider knowledge. Maybe he's already laying the groundwork.
You got to remember
that's a tough stance to take.
You got to remember that Pollard might have talked to the AD at Iowa. They're ran by the same board. I don't know. Yeah,
it's possible. Kenneth Maynor, $5 super chat. Also, college football mafia member, family member, I should say. Thanks, Kenneth. Appreciate you again. Schools like Iowa State, Wake Forest, Cincinnati, Baylor, Boston College, etc., need to join together and call the P2 out. Forget realignment. Join up and speak out. And I think right now, if you look at every one of the schools he listed, you might put Baylor. I don't know. Iowa State certainly they've been self-professed to be struggling financing. But I just don't know. It is a major game of chicken, I think.
Of the schools that you have listed there, Iowa State and Cincinnati are the two that are public, so we know their numbers. Wake Forest, Baylor, BC, private schools, we know some of their numbers, but we don't know all their numbers.
Right.
We know what they can announce.
Right.
But the thing is, there was an article, and this was, oh God, I want to say it was LA Times. And this was like 15 years ago. And it said the missing middle class of college athletics. And it was talking about Fresno State. It was talking about San Diego State. And it was talking about Oregon State.
Keep going. I'm listening.
Oh, that's all I had.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's good. That's fine. We can move right along. I appreciate that. Kenneth, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I really, really appreciate it. Here's a good comment from Bulls fan 2K7. I am a fan of the University of South Florida, the Bulls. If you don't know who they are, I think Daniel is too.
Yep.
ISU AD Pollard was the same person who said, without Texas and Oklahoma, the Big 12 is the Mountain West a few years ago. So his comments today are not surprising. I don't remember that quote, but it doesn't shock me. One, and
this
two,
is whenever Texas OU left.
The self-effacement of that gets to a point where, are you saying too much, in my opinion?
Yeah.
Like, why expose yourself that much to public overview?
Pollard's never been afraid to get in front of a camera.
Being honest, it doesn't. I mean, you don't have to say everything that's on your mind, though. Oh my gosh. Timothy Green, our soldier out there on the East Coast, also representing the West Virginia Mountaineers, and got his membership back again tonight. Great to see you, Timothy. I appreciate you. Daniel, remember when the governor of West Virginia basically made West Virginia and Marshall play every year for several years? And I named the friends of Coble. I'm sure you remember.
Yes, I do. That was Joe Manchin and I can't remember how it worked. It's like 2 at WVU, 1 at Huntington, something like that. I'm trying to remember how the breakdown worked on that. But yeah, the governor came in and said that they both had to play each other. Oh yeah, by the way, the governor at the time was a WVU grad. So for whatever that's worth.
No, I think that you have to take that into account. Where people go to school, where they graduate. All right,
he wasn't a Marshall grad, and Marshall grad governors have been the ones that have been pressing WVU Marshall to play every year.
Okay. Before I go to call-ins, really quick, I wanted to ask you about your opinion, because you always have an opinion I will listen to. Let's quickly talk about this right here, which I think could, well, put it this way, everybody. Brendan Sorsby, temporary restraining order. You all know the story by this time. He has admitted to gambling on college sports. He admitted that he gambled on his own team. He says, let me back in and I will be an icon, somebody that I will be the one person out there selling non-gambling participation. Oh, and by the way, I'm a recovering addict. He's already said he's addicted to betting. And I want to be thrown right back into what is the top level of football outside the NFL. I'm going to give you a minute or two to just go through this. I don't even know what to say. I'm so speechless about the idea.
There are pictures going around of that judge that issued the TRO.
I saw that.
The mascot. Yeah, with the mascot for Texas Tech.
Yeah.
All the thing they have to do is whenever they go up to the appellate court, show that picture saying that judge needs to recuse himself. He is biased. He is a fan of the Red Raiders. And guess what? It'll probably have that judge recuse himself.
Really?
And then the next
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. We've had other cases. ACC versus Florida State and Clemson. You had people going to schools, lawyers. They're all interbred anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
how
the
do
thing
you
is,
in Lubbock, Texas, how are you going to get a guy who didn't
yeah,
either graduate from Texas Tech or in some way,
yes,
shape, or form is otherwise connected?
yes. But here's the thing: there's certain things that you are not allowed to do as an athlete. That is gamble on sports, especially if you are
Your
gambling
own
on
sport.
the
You're not
team.
supposed
Yeah,
to
the not
gamble on
only
your own
that,
sport and your own team. Yep.
the team that you're on.
Yes.
Baseball gave a lifetime ban to the guy with the most hits, Pete Rose. I still don't think the Veterans Committee is going to let Pete Rose in the first time he's eligible.
That's a two generations have passed since that was basically dumped on him. Pete Rose, the most hits in baseball history. It's incredible. All right. So we're going to try to make this call-ins thing work because, I kind of like to do that stuff. Daniel being here, for some reason, I'm having a hard time hearing the second thing. So I want everybody to be listening. Let me share this tab. You and I are on screen. Let's try this. I'm going to open up the phone lines, 801-899-6203. I apologize if technology doesn't work and call-ins don't work. That would be on my head, but we're going to try this anyway. 801-899-6203, and I'm really excited to hear from everybody. While that's going, let's run through some more comments. If you want to call in, do it right now. To Town Hawk, the Kansas Jayhawk in the house, valuable member of the college football mafia family. NCAA sells data to gambling. Yeah, the hypocrisy is insane. Can't tell anyone not to do business with somebody you are in bed with, and yet they do it every day, Daniel.
I know. The NFL has gambling websites all over their stadiums, and then the players are told you can't gamble. Yeah, I mean.
Okay, I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
801-899-6203. 801-899-6203. Call in right now. I want to hear your opinions and thoughts. Let's talk some college football. It could be about anything really college related. I know you can ask about my Seahawks too if you want, but we're supposed to be doing college football primarily tonight. All right, here we got somebody calling in. Let's see if this will work. And I'm not getting audio. It is broken.
Call from.
My audio is broken, everybody.
To accept, press 1.
I don't think this
to
will
send
work.
a voicemail, press 2.
Dang it. I have done something to my audio. All right. That's not going to work. Ryan Willie, I apologize. I cannot make my audio work. Let me quickly, audio settings. I reset my headset today, and I'm thinking maybe that's the problem. Bringing, let's go, John. Sorry, everybody. This is live TV after all. Let's go here. Default speakers, again, is Jabra. If you have a Jabra headset, by the way, everybody, they're really, really good. Daniel, talk. Let me see if I can hear you.
Hello.
All right. You want to do me a favor? On your
Yes.
cell phone, will you call me? And let's see if the audio works. Please?
Okay, hold on.
I should have tested this before, everybody. This is my fault. I did change some settings tonight, and I might have screwed it up. So, Ryan, I owe you a call. Stand by. We're going to see if we can make this work. I'm going to get a couple more comments while Daniel's calling me. Don't call my cell phone, Daniel, right? Call the 801-899. That's not ringing through. Oh, I fixed it. All right, Daniel, I can hear it. Ryan Willie, call me back. I'm going to hang up. Daniel, can you hear me, Daniel? Daniel, can you hear me? Daniel, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah,
I
know
can
you
hear
took your
Ryan.
headphones off. Well, Ryan hasn't called back in, but I think I got it working. So Ryan, there we go. This is somebody else calling me. Sorry, Ryan. I will get you on next. I promise. Yeah, this is
Call
fun.
from.
Town Hawk.
To Town Hawk, can you hear me?
Yeah. Nate,
Daniel,
can you hear
I'm
me?
not sure. I can hear you.
Can you
I don't
hear
know
me?
I can hear you, Daniel, but you can't hear him, remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
He can't hear me.
Okay,
He can't. hang on to town. I'll give me 1 second. Everybody, if you're
Sure.
listening, can you give me a quick shout out on the comments that you can hear to Town Hawk calling? Can somebody just give me a thumbs up really quick in the comment section? Anybody watching right now, let me know that you can hear to Town Hawk. To Town Hawk, go ahead and talk.
Hey guys. Well, I was going to say hello, Nate and Daniel. I don't think I can't hear Daniel, but
Yeah, that's
hopefully he
broken.
can hear me.
Yeah, that's a thing that's broken with StreamYard. So, anyways, keep going.
Okay. Well, thanks for taking my call. I wanted to talk tonight. Obviously a little bit. I have a strong opinion about the gambling
Yes.
revenue and sports and the hypocrisy of taking millions and millions of dollars from gambling sites and then telling the kids not to do it. Somebody today, and I can't recall who it was, had a pretty good analogy. Is said, putting all the commercials on the screen is kind of like how they used to put the smoking commercials on
Yes.
during sports back in the 60s and 70s. And if you recall, because people had a public outcry that was not healthy, particularly for young people,
Yep.
that they changed the advertising laws to where you couldn't have cigarette ads in certain places.
Among other things,
sporting events,
now
television.
it's alcohol. Alcohol's
Right.
being phased out in NASCAR and Formula One.
So what's the difference? Because here's the reality. Most of the people you see it over and over and over again, it's young people that are getting hooked on it.
Of course.
Sports gambling has always been a thing in this country, and
Yep.
I'm not saying there's anything right or wrong about that. I think the access from states opening up sports gambling has pivoted people's, I guess, business model, and they're pushing it like any business does, try to grow. But I think they're pushing it, and they know they're pushing it towards younger and younger people.
Right.
I don't
But
see how
let me just I'll let you finish what you're going to say to Town Hawk. I just want to say this though. Where's the accountability and all that? Everything you're describing is a fact. There's no doubt there's problems like the tobacco and like alcohol and these things. But at the end of the day, it's gaslighting to say blame the system and not hold the kid accountable. He gambled when he was 19 years old. He gambled when he was out of state. He gambled when he was at a school and he put money on his own team. I've been empathetic for him. I have been absolutely a champion for his restoration and being healed, if that's even possible. But the accountability, it's hard for me to pass on that part of it.
Well, I don't think, number one, I don't think he should be wasting his time. I think his attention is misplaced. Trying to go through with the lawsuit. I know a lot of people disagree with me that, it's about the $5 million. I look at it, it's a lose-lose for him. Take away that $5 million. It could be any amount. Say, if he goes ahead and he fights this and say he gets reinstated, prior to the season, I don't think he would be as successful as he would have been had this not come out.
No doubt.
His attention and focus is away, and he's away from the team. He's going to get rusty, whatnot. Yep. I think if he goes through with this and he fails and he does not get reinstated, he has wasted 4 to 6 months time, energy, focus away from him being able to prepare himself mentally and physically to go on to his professional career.
The
which
money
he does have
That's right. The money is ridiculous.
Well, take away the money. What are his chances? I think he's hurting his pro prospects.
I don't disagree.
Staying in the lawsuit.
I agree.
And if he, as you said, if he is healed or if he is serious, I think no matter what, those are going to be very, very serious concerns for NFL owners. Specifically, if somebody says they have a gambling problem in sports, if the NCAA comes down hard on it, professional sports has absolute zero tolerance for it.
Yes.
As you said, they keep people out of the Hall of Fame just for being associated with it, let alone being able to have a job in the sport.
Right. Yeah, there's no doubt.
So,
yeah.
I don't. Long story short, I think he should absolutely withdraw from the lawsuit. Probably find a personal coach, personal trainer. I don't think he's got the right people around him right now.
Yeah,
because to be honest with you, besides possibly his parents or very, very close friends, siblings, etc., the people that are around him for the business decisions right now are purely focused on extremely short-term decisions.
Yeah, he's being used. There is no doubt about it in my mind. Yep. And I think the supplemental draft is where he should be focusing. He should have already declared. I said that the day he came out with this thing. I said supplemental draft, 2 or 3 rounds.
Honestly, I'm going to push back from that because I honestly don't think he has the mental recovery or the amount of time needed probably for this to be addressed in a way that NFL teams would be satisfied or more satisfied that he's less of a risk in the long run. Specifically about his problems. I mean, I know everybody will take a chance, but I think he'd be better serving himself. He took the next 11 months to get himself isolated, squared away with right professionals, both mental, physical, his personal coaching. He's going to have a lot of rehabilitation for his reputation, and he needs to gear up and get ready because those GMs are going to want to sit down with him and go through step by step. That they're not going to take it easy on him, and he has to be prepared and handle himself in the way that he needs to give himself an opportunity to be prepared into the right place that will take him in and give him a fair shot. Otherwise, he's going to be Johnny Manziel 2, but he won't be a first-round pick.
Yeah,
right.
I'm going to have to cut you off there to Town Hawk.
Sure, I know. I went.
Yeah, that's okay. I appreciate your opinion. I really do. And whether you agree or disagree with me, I think most people just want him to get right. And the other stuff is extremely pressurizing. So I'm going to let you go. But thank you so much for calling in tonight.
Okay, so last thought. I agree 100% with you. And get gambling revenue out of college sports.
Boy, I wish. That would be great. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
We'll see you later. Bye-bye. All right. That is the Town Hawk in the house. I had to give him a run because, 1, he's a fantastic viewer. 2, it is just crazy. It's crazy how broken they're. Another call in the
call from
the Evil Badger. Billy has joined the call. I see somebody else is calling in right behind him. So we're going to take Ryan Willie next, and then we will get to the next caller. So, was the concert fun?
Yes, it was.
Good job. Excellent.
Yeah, it was fun. It took, on the way back home, we ran into a couple of thunderstorms, but that was nothing compared to the Oakland's played for 2 hours. The set was 2 hours. Expectantly played for an hour.
Okay.
And then the other opening acts played for about a half hour to an hour.
Well, you had fun, right? That's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Evil Badger has joined the show tonight. So do you have a quick comment?
Yes, I do. I believe that this is not this will look bad for Cody Campbell and Texas Tech if they push this lawsuit to get so to speak eligible for the season for this year, because he's got to look out for his mental health first, and the gambling problem. He's got to take care of that.
Yeah.
It's not going to look good for him in the NCAA or to the NFL. I think his NFL career is basically over. Like I told Greg last night, he's just got to look out for himself, and I think, like, I agree with the Tomahawk. He's being used by other people to push an agenda, I think.
Yep.
So that's basically my 2 cents as far as that goes.
Okay. Is that good? Are we good for tonight?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I appreciate you calling in. I apologize the first time you called. I saw it. I tried to make it work, and I had screwed up the settings. So you're a rock star, and I'm glad you're doing well. Make sure to keep me in the loop. I love receiving your text updates.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
He is the Evil Badger, Ryan Willie. Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
taking my call.
You bet.
Bye.
Always. All right. Bye-bye. I love it. I love it. I love it. We're going to stop calls for just a second. I think Caden, the Diesel Freak, is trying to get in. But first, I want to get to a super chat, and then I'm going to give the last word for Daniel tonight. MBM 357, the Oklahoma State Cowboy. $10 super chat, also a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. And Daniel, I'll let you comment on this as you walk out. Hateful Eight, Big 12 till death.
Yep, that Hateful Eight, we stuck together, and now look at the Big 12. And a lot of it is that, let's get right down to it. SEC and Big Ten weren't calling to other schools. We had to stick it out. So I have to go. I've got dinner ready to go, and I will talk to you guys later.
You so long.
Hey, no problem.
We'll see you later, okay? Thanks, Daniel, for coming on. I really appreciate you.
Hey, no problem.
He is Daniel the Gygax, the other Gygax on Twitter. Fantastic member of the College Football Mafia family. Somebody who contributes around here. Just did a short the other day on I can't remember the topic. It was just mixed up college football and all the things that go with college sports. So I definitely recommend his short videos on our College Football Mafia main page. Just go to the videos link and he will pop up. And Daniel, I apologize for taking you long. That is my fault. Again, I was so excited to get going today because we did have, I'm going to do a quick reset. Beginning of the show, let me get this detail up right here because this lady is a rock star. Danielle Kelley helped me start off the show a full hour and a half ago. The assistant AG for the state of Florida with the Antitrust Division, and she had some amazing answers. I mean, amazing to the way college sports is being handled right now. And the discussion that I'm going to have somebody clip out for me because not only do I hate it, I don't know how to do it. Or capacity to do it, I've struggled, is the short in there, the fight between states' rights and federal rights. At the end of the day, that is what is going to drive whatever the next stage of college football is about, is this question. States' rights versus federal legislation. And at the end of the day, there's one way that we get a final answer on that is the United States Supreme Court, unless they can negotiate with the athletes, some sort of employment / CBA, give them representation, and then negotiate with them, and then you provide a limited antitrust exemption. But this is a fascinating time in the world of college sports. Certainly college football's never been weirder and yet more engaging than right now. And everybody needs to recognize that where we are, that's how you get better, right? Is recognize where you're at, own it, and then do things to try to make it better. So, yeah, Danielle Kelley, first half hour of the show. I will try to cut out some of the answers she gave, but I'm not getting those questions many other places. In fact, I would guarantee you most people don't have access to an assistant AG at a state. And mine just happens to be the very active and relevant state of Florida. That would be Danielle Kelley. So thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm trying to do calls. I will go longer tonight just because there's so many people watching and I want to get as many of your comments and questions in tonight as I can. So right now I'm going to open up the phone lines again. Hit that little button. I'm going to open up and put the show call-in number. Call in right now, 801-899-6203. Caden, I know you called in. Call in again, 801-899-6203. I'm going to try to keep our phone segments a little bit shorter just so we can get as many calls in as we can. But definitely want you guys to join the show. If you're watching on X right now, do me a favor, open up another window on your phone or go over on your computer, subscribe to College Football Mafia on YouTube, and become part of what we're doing around here. All right. I know who this is.
Caden the Diesel Freak.
Caden the Diesel Freak. Sorry I had to put you off there, Caden. I know you've been calling. First of all, how are you doing?
Nathan, my week could have not gone better so far. I cannot complain one single bit.
So what's on your mind tonight? What's the one thing you want to talk about tonight?
Well, I think you should have seen the Super Chance, and if you didn't, which I know you did, but I'm just refreshing everybody's memory at the current moment. I said in the first one, and I quote, NIL is basically turning college football, or not the second one. The NIL is turning college football into the NFL, and this is basically the same scenario as similarly to teenagers selling their souls to Nickelodeon Disney to become famous. You asked me the question, Nathan, of why I had to give that specific thought, or why did I give that specific 2 cents.
Okay.
Well, to be honest, Nathan, in 11 years as a farmhand and someone who's been in the business, I've seen how that works, and trust me, it does not end well for anybody. They let their ego get in their way, and then all hell breaks loose.
Yep.
And then the whole scenario of everybody wasting all their money on useless crap. And then, you get into issues, financial issues with the law. I mean, it's nothing new. I've seen this process happen. I mean, it isn't no joke, Nathan.
I'm not disagreeing with you, brother, at all. I agree with what you're saying. I think the chaos is real. I just think that there's so many polarizing views. You were here for the beginning of the show, and what Danielle said, I think, is, and what has always been my suggestion, not that anybody listens to me. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Is to take 2 years and build it back right, and quit with the Band-Aid crap for college sports.
And I'm like the only one of the few only people that agree with you, Nathan. Let me be
are there only
honest.
The two of us? Oh no, I'm in trouble.
Hey, I agree with you on what you said with Danielle. And, I give Danielle all the credit in the world. She's amazing as the Assistant Attorney General in the state of Florida. I've seen her work. She's unbelievable. I do got to give the Assistant Attorney General, Danielle Kelley, a big shout out. Amazing woman, by the way. Check her out on social media. I've seen her social media posts, and they're awesome. But that's just kind of where it bothers me, Nathan, as someone that has experience, but I have seen from my own personal life this happen.
Right.
You have to think about this. This is okay. So for example, I've had a lot of kids from Columbus. like that's happened to them. And it just blows my mind. And I'm just thinking, is this really happening to everybody? And I'm like, good night. And then it's like, oh, NIL is just the most stupid thing in college football. All this money, all the gambling, all that stupid nonsense BS is just going on.
Yes.
I'm sorry I'm so hard-headed about it, but it drives me nuts. College football wasn't supposed to be meant to pay these guys millions of dollars. It was meant to help them succeed to become NFL players. It wasn't just to become, multi-millionaires in college. Like, that's not the singular sole purpose.
You're right. That's true.
But unfortunately, as they say, they let egos get in their way. Well, unfortunately, that's the one major issue that they have is that one small word, ego.
Can I, really quick, I totally follow where you're going. I have a question for you as an Ohio State and a long-standing college football watcher, on top of everything else. In your opinion, Indiana winning the college football national championship last year was a net positive or a net negative for college football?
Honestly, me personally, and this is also coming from a former Division III high school athlete.
Okay.
Also, I see it as a net positive, but in my mind, it's a net negative. I don't want to get into reasons why I say it's a net negative.
And I'm
people
not
are going to be
asking you
calling.
Yeah.
And I've, how many people have called me stupid for just saying my own simple thought? Just because, okay, none of my friends got to go to D1 college. We all stayed back to do what we do. I mean, it's not because we said, oh, this is just terror. No, because we knew the consequences of where this was going.
Right.
Our parents, grandparents, I could speak on behalf of everybody I know, and even all my buddies that are actually good college football fans will actually watch this show. I've recommended this channel to them. So
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Caden. I love having you come on.
And I can speak on behalf of my brothers from another mother. we saw this coming. Our parents saw this coming. And it's it's killing us. And it's not even just killing us figuratively. It's just like driving us nuts. Because it's like, I still don't get it. Like, people say, like, Kaden, you're like crazy stupid for saying you're saying whatever, etc. Like, literally, I've had people directly message me on Twitter just for what I give my thoughts about.
Okay.
Like when they bring this subject up too.
I'll give you time to wrap up, okay? Because I'm trying to get through some calls tonight. I know you know that. I'm just letting you know. Why don't you go ahead and
Nathan,
sign off?
I understand it. I'm sorry for running my
my
mouth, but
you are fine. I'm just trying to move to the next thing, man.
I know.
I promise.
Now everybody in the comments is like, oh, Caden's stupid for saying everything he did. Well, I'm sorry.
I am not saying that, Caden.
No. I'm talking about the comment section, Nathan. It's not you. It's the comment section. I can already see where it's going.
Okay.
So I'm going to get my big ugly mouth off of here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on, and I really appreciate you. I think there is big problems, and you're right.
I'm sorry, Nathan. It's just, like I said, from my experience and just from where I'm coming from and from where I stand and from where everybody I know that I work with and I personally know stand with.
Yeah.
They call us all idiots for saying this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
okay.
It's fine. It's just like, people can hate me for saying this, but it's like, it's true that they just don't want to realize that this is the consequences of this happening. So anyways, Nathan, I'm going to get off of here and get my ugly carcass off of here. But
all right.
Nathan, get in touch with me if you have any other questions or
you bet.
Or whatever. My phone's
okay.
Good grief. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I've had a long day today, and it's just been
okay.
Good grief.
Well, thank you. All I can say, Caden, is thank you very much for calling in. I really, really appreciate it. We'll move on, okay?
Hey, you guys take care, and we'll catch y'all the next time.
Make sure in the comments tell everybody where to find your stuff, okay?
Well, if they didn't know, Caden the Diesel Freak is here on YouTube. That's Caden the Diesel Freak, and I'm also on Twitter. That's at Caden the Diesel Freak. The most hated Ohio State fan on the planet, hated by some of the most famous YouTube channels, and banned from 3 specific YouTube channels. I won't mention their names, but
you're not banned here. Okay, I gotta go. Thanks so much for calling in.
Yep, later.
See ya. Bye. He is Caden the Diesel Freak. I give him hands cheer. I appreciate Ryan Willie. Everybody calling in. We're gonna keep this thing going. I am trying to get more callers in tonight. Let me get to some super chats. Evil Badger, Ryan Willie, $2 super chat, valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. Started the process of getting a new chair today. If anybody doesn't know, Evil Badger Ryan Willie's absolutely an OG member of the College Football Mafia family, and he has challenges that we absolutely love to support. And so I would just say, if you have extra prayers, consider shooting them his way. He's had some struggles, so I'm glad to hear that chair finally may be coming. FF18 Buffs, this is Fergie, contributor of the College Football Mafia family, also a valuable member of what we do around here. $5 super chat. I'm sorry to say, but the NFL system is far better than college football. NFL also has NIL, but it is after a properly structured salary cap for playing football. And I would amend to that, there's also a CBA. They're negotiating with the athletes directly instead of trying to treat them as a resource, like they're a car, like they're any inanimate object. That's how, in my opinion, I've always said this from the very beginning. I've never changed my mind. That's how they treat the athletes, in my opinion. All right, we got another caller here.
Call from.
I didn't catch your name. Who's this?
Oh, the Stormy Cyclone.
Oh my gosh, Stormy, have you been here the whole time?
Oh, I caught it about the last 5 minutes of Daniel and you, and then thought I'd just call in and
please. Hey, I want to hear from you, man. I want to hear what you think about Jamie Pollard's comments about where ISU is. Really, what's on your mind? I really wanted to hear from you tonight.
Well, these comments are, they got what they call the Cyclone Tailgate Tour. They do this once a year where these coaches go around the state, for 5 days and get like 2 spots a day. They're going to be, I think they're in Des Moines and Dubuque or something first. And then I know they're going to be in Fort Dodge and Sioux City, Okoboji, and all these areas. But anyway, so, reporter's got a free hand, and, Pollard's pretty transparent. He's going to say what he's thinking. And sometimes it's what everybody else is thinking, but sometimes you should maybe not say it,
Right.
But I don't know. I got done planting here, I don't know, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And I started getting back into the groove of this stuff again. And I listened to Greg's show, and, but he was kind of talking, about this breakaway deal. And, I just think they've leveraged everybody so far. They're kind of just leveraging against themselves, it seems like now. You know what I mean?
I do.
And,
I see that.
And I do agree with Pollard. Like, you think you can just do it in football? No. If you break away from the NCAA, you break away from the NCAA. That includes the basketball tournament and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
absolutely.
We're not letting you off the hook that easy. You want to pull this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I just thought I wanted to hear your opinion on this whole deal. I'm not surprised, but yet it seems like every time we start talking about playoff talk, they're trying to leverage us for some more money or more spots or whatever. Right. And I'm sick of it. You know what I mean? We went through this a few years ago and made the mistake of giving in. I don't think they ought to do it. You know what I mean? Call it a bluff. They're going to, and according to Greg, it's not a bluff, but who knows? You know what I mean? And even if it isn't, just call them on it. You know what I mean? You can only give so much. You know what I mean?
what everything you said, I completely agree with. And whether I must admit, I think Jamie Pollard just he needs somebody in the communications department to do all his answers. I think saying what you're thinking in college sports is a very dangerous pathway, and the transparency is true, and I think you can absolutely trust him as your AD. But unfortunately, we are in a see me world, and his comments the last 2 years about Iowa State and the framing of Iowa State, and by extension the Big 12, have not been in my opinion, to the overall betterment of either your university athletic department or by extension the Big 12. I think we would be much better off if he had just given canned answers, because what it does is that now it's going to create, and let me ask you, this is how I look at it. If Jamie Pollard says this about Iowa State, is it the appearance that Iowa State is just poor and can't compete, or is it calling the bluff and just saying, I don't think you're actually going to do this? Because again, in my opinion, if Iowa State relegates itself essentially and loses that tier 1 football money, you won't have 5 athletic groups in your university. That's how bereft of money you would be. So where do you come down on that?
Well, we got a new president, it's David Cook, and he's kind of from the area. He's a North Dakota guy, but he actually, I think, graduated from Iowa State, and his wife too, actually. And he's all, you've seen that with Otts. They got more money for NIL. They gave Otts a top 10 salary, because he's basically, we figure, a top 10 coach, in the game, and you want to keep him, especially after the Campbell deal, you know what I mean? And
I do.
But I don't understand, all this money for, the football. They've been selling out these games, and then basketball, it's a crowd. And you look at, the revenue department is ranked 4th in the Big 12. Ahead of a lot of,
I know.
And yet we seem to be poor. It seems like. Is it just a lobbying effort on his part to get this, the state deal with the Board of Regents, and trying to get money?
Let me ask you that. I'll let you go on the Board of Regents, but it just occurred to me, the outstanding question I've had is he's complained about other states subsidizing athletic departments, like I hate at Arizona, at some of these other states where the legislature's underwriting them, and he basically dared the Iowa legislature to do something about it. Has he done anything about it? And then you can jump back to the Board of Regents.
I haven't heard anything. I know he's lobbying for it. I suppose that new president, that David Cook, is too. But to my knowledge, there's nothing been done. We don't get a penny. We cannot do that in the state of Iowa at this point.
Hard.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, keep going. I'll let you. Sorry. Go ahead.
But I don't know where it's going to end up. You know what I mean? Right. They were probably one of the best until this NIL stuff all started. It's probably one of the best run Big 12, athletic departments. They're running off of figures. You're not supposed to make money, but I did see they were getting sued for what the heck is that, Ireland trip for something. I don't know if they didn't report
I didn't know about that.
I seen something about that. They didn't report all the income or something.
Oh gosh,
I don't know. So yeah,
whatever. Don't have time of day
every
for that.
Every state's different. I'll just leave it with that. Every state's different, and unfortunately, in the state of Iowa, you got them running the Iowa, UNI, and Iowa State, and one Board of Regents running all 3, and you just cannot do that to start with. It's just old-fashioned thinking. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah, I
agree.
I'm
hoping something gets changed there. They're gonna do a Board of Regents deal here next month, just on the Sci-Town deal. Everything you do to get grant money is, it's got to be approved by them, and so
we're gonna have to do. We're going to have to do a short video, or maybe just a unique call-in session for you to talk about that Sci-Town thing. We don't have time for it tonight, but essentially you're trying to create a multi-use area for your, fandom and all your football. And
I don't know if you've ever been to
I
the
haven't.
Power and Light District
I
in
have
Kansas
not.
City or the Green
no, I've
Bay,
been
the
there.
title town.
I've actually been to the one in Kansas City. I've driven by that. Yeah.
Well, it's a cross between Titletown and there'll be no other one in the country in Ames, Iowa. Hard to believe, but there's nothing in the country. I mean, they even got like a little football area, a little like the Dallas Cowboy deal. They got that idea from Dallas Cowboys for like the kids to play on artificial turf or whatever.
I think you're
amphitheater, and it's quite a deal, but it's expensive.
I was going to say everything that he's saying now. I mean, and I'll let you get the last comment in, and then I'll let you go. But at the end of the day, perception is reality. And I am concerned for the appearance, not only of Iowa State, but what it does for the Big 12. And I'll give you the last word, and then I'll let you go.
No, you're right. I don't like him going out there and saying that stuff either. But yet, when you need money, they never have been filthy rich. We know that, and they've always. But it's just putting a pinch on things, and I don't know where it's heading. You know what I mean? It's just
I do.
I don't know where this is all heading. I just know that sometimes he's got to put a muffler on it.
Well,
so, I'll let you go with that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate hearing from you, Stormy, and I've been waiting for your opinion all day, actually. So I'm so glad you're watching tonight. We'll talk to you later, okay?
All right. Nice chatting with you.
You too, always. Bye. He is the Stormy Cyclone super fan for the Iowa State Cyclones. And this whole Jamie Pollard thing is a mess. In this case, in my opinion, silence is golden. I don't understand why I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm going to stay late if you guys want to keep calling. If you don't, I'm going to get to some super chats, and then we are going to get out of here. But I'd rather stick around, to be honest. I've got the time. Ryan Willie, Evil Badger, $2 super chat. Started the process of getting a new chair. I already did that one. Sorry. And Fergie, I guess I got both the super chats. I thought I might have missed one, but I guess not. You guys got double view there, Fergie. I appreciate you being here tonight. Everybody call in right now, 801-899-6203. Anything college sports, primarily college football, we love to talk about. Also, before anything else happens, I want to promo what happened earlier in the show. For the first half hour, we were interviewing somebody very special to me and somebody who knows what she's talking about, Danielle Kelley, Assistant Attorney General for the state of Florida with the Antitrust Enforcement Division specifically. She knows what's going on. She knows what time it is when it comes to antitrust suits and states' rights versus federal legislation, SCORE Act, I don't care, whatever act you want to call it. The Congressional Black Caucus came out against the SCORE Act. The reason I'm not spending a lot of time on the SCORE Act is, frankly, I think that legislation has been dead man walking since it was announced. And the reason is I think the athletes need direct representation in some way, shape, or form. I prefer a CBA, some sort of employment agreement, something, but we have to treat the athletes like what they are, as human beings and not resources. Greg Sankey stands up one more time and says, we're not going to pay the athletes as employees just because I just want to throw up. So first half hour of the show, Danielle Kelley was with me, and I really, really appreciate her doing that. We've had some great call-ins tonight. Let me get to some more comments. Town Hawk says, good caller. I love that. Great to see you, Town Hawk. Timothy Johnson, thanks for being here tonight. Make sure you subscribe to the show, follow and like, do all that stuff you're supposed to do. I like the idea of a promotion relegation system. I do too. Maybe 70, 80 teams. My number was 72 in Tier 1, and the rest in Tier 2 trying to get promoted. I feel like I'm screaming into the night. Timothy Johnson is absolutely on it. Right before I started the channel, right before I hooked up with Wild U, right before we got College Football Mafia, it was Big 12 Mafia, I was watching a lot of 365 Sports. They do great stuff. And I sent them a message in August of, oh boy, now 2022. Sent it to Smokey, I think. And basically I said that I am a fan of promotion relegation. I am not a fan of not having a playoff. So we don't want to take the Premier League soccer English model, move it to the United States for college football and say everything is done at that point. No, that's not true. But a promotion relegation system, 72, 80 schools, whatever that number is, you put a line in it. Everybody else is playing to qualify for that league. And you put a time period on it for qualification. It's not every year. Schedules get screwed up. I realize how hard that is. In my opinion, do a 3 or 4 or maybe even 5-year rolling promotion relegation system. Teams generate points. I'm not talking about scoring points. I'm talking about generating points by wins and losses. And by doing so, they retain their status into this tier 1. I don't know what else to call it. Or you move down to tier 2. Tier 2 is not bad. In England, it's the Premier League to the Championship. Those fans don't quit watching football just because they're tier 2. You know why? Because they know they can earn their way back. Earn their way back. Meritocracy. That is what America is. Somebody clip me out right now. This little diatribe, put it on Twitter, say how idiotic Bomber is about promotion relegation. But I'm telling you right now, making people earn it. Like we teach our kids, go out and earn it. You are not a slave to the system. You can take action and be successful. Even if you take a step back, even if you have challenges in life, you work your way back. That's why this system, I think, would be the best and the best way to get around a lot of the legal troubles. You create 2 divisions and Bob's your uncle, you move along. Sorry, I didn't mean to spend so much time on that. I haven't had a chance to talk about it in a long time, so thank you so much, Timothy. You are spot on with that comment. Promotion relegation, I would love it for college football. Let me bring up this other banner. You can call in right now, 801-899-6203. Tell me what's on your mind, 801-899-6203. If you're watching on X, do me a favor, jump over on YouTube just for a minute. Search out College Football Mafia. Become a subscriber, or consider becoming a new member, and get active. That's all I ask for. Is I love this part of this. If I was just talking into a vacuum, I would not be doing this anymore. It's you guys that keep me coming back. I promise you. Ryan Willie, again, another $5 super chat, super OG member of the College Football Mafia family. Nathan, do you believe ESPN and SEC will cave on a 24-team CFP? Okay, I got to count. 10, 9, 8. Let's come down. I get excited. Let me do a banner before I start talking about it. 24-team CFP. Like or hate? All right, here we go. I'm going to go into this next. 24-team CFP, like or hate. Evil Badger, Ryan Willie. This is your answer. Do I have a rant button around here? I know I do on the other. No, I don't think I have a rant thing. I apologize, everybody. Do I have something here I can put? I can put Cougar Head down there for my BYU Cougars. I'm going to leave this running. I think that the SEC eventually will cave. I know that's not what Josh Pates wants. I know that's not what, is generally on people's minds. But if we're talking about a 24-team CFP, in fact, that's the wrong title. I apologize, Ryan. That's not even the right thing. You asked me, I'm going to say this, will the SEC cave? Let's try with that. SEC cave. That's a better question as I'm doing this live TV. I do believe the SEC eventually changes or adapts. I wouldn't say cave. I put that in the message to get people's attention, but I really think at this point, the SEC obviously wants to protect itself, but the SEC also wants to be, they still want to be at the table. They still want to be around. And if everybody leaves them, then they're playing in their own silo. And I do not believe in silos. The whole idea, I know my very good friend, Greg Flugar, Flug Empire on Twitter, and I disagree on this point. But I just really think that everything, the 2014 gets us where we want to be. That's the bottom line. That's what I'm going to say. The 2014 playoff gets us to where we want to be. The most teams competing for one championship. And don't come at me personally. Don't come at me with the love of the game or the history or rivalries or people. Somebody tell me Ohio State, somebody tell me Michigan at the game is going to do something ludicrous like sit their starters so they can get a better spot in the CFP playoffs. If you're watching me right now, and there's not maybe 3 of you, but if you're watching me right now, I would challenge anybody to try to justify that, because there is absolutely no way in hell that would work for the Holy War, BYU versus Utah. Both teams could be 1-10. And if they finally played the game at the end of the year, which they should, the Big 12 screwing that up, there is no way anybody's sitting anybody for anything. 1-11 is not a good comparison because 9-3, 8-4. 9-3, sorry, 10-2, 9-3. Whatever it is, for the Holy War, for anything else, there is no way in hell they're sitting their starters like has been alleged by the SEC talking heads without pointing people out. I already said Josh Pate's name, so I can say it again. His opinion obviously matters. He's a big dude. I'm not a big dude. But I just don't. 16, there is a chance we go to 16 first, but I think we end up at 24 eventually. I hope it's sooner than later. Great super chat. Thank you so much, Ryan. That's fantastic. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about that because it wasn't on my bingo card tonight. Stephen Pitts, good to see you, Stephen. You've been around here before. Make sure you're subscribed and follow and leave me comments. Tell me I'm stupid on Twitter. It gets the Big 12 where they want to be. Okay. All right. Solar Knoll. No one cares about the rivalry games when they mean nothing. Is there okay, Solar Knoll. Appreciate you. First of all, thanks for being here. I'm a Florida State fan. Everybody knows that. Earlier, I had Danielle Kelley watching me live. Participating. You know who Danielle Kelley is. Super fan of Florida State University. I think you're probably Florida State University. In fact, I'm positive. No one cares about the rivalry games when they mean nothing. I think the definition of a rivalry game is they mean everything. That's what I'll say. If it's not a mean everything game, it's not a rivalry. Bottom line. That's how I define it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I look at it that way. But thank you so much for being here tonight, and thanks for watching Solar No. Make sure you're subscribed. I want to subscribe. I want to see you on future shows, man. I appreciate you being here tonight. Sorry, man, I wasn't trying to be. That was not defining person. I am very sensitive to people's. Anyway, trying to be fair to everybody. Bulldog, Mississippi. Oh, old OG member now at this point of the College Football Mafia family, has been super active, has given me things, and I have yet to send them on. That is my fault, Bulldog. I'm the only person to blame for that. But thanks for being here tonight. Representing the Mississippi State Bulldogs of the SEC. 138 team Super League. There's no regular season. Every team enters into the 138 team playoff week 1, and it's survival of the fittest to the end. All problems solved. It definitely would get us somewhere. That season. So the regular season would be what? 6 weeks, 7 weeks? No. Essentially, you're making half the season, or if you're making the whole season the CFP, then it's all elimination. There's really nowhere for people to go after they're eliminated. I understand what you're saying, Bulldog. I don't know how practical that could be. If you divide by halves over and over, I think that would probably be, somebody on math is going to check me, but like a 5 or 6 week season, if you do a qualification to get into the playoff for seedings or whatever. I just that's one thing I don't see that happening. Right now, we basically have that, and it's completely broken, Bulldog. But I respect what you're saying. I think maybe that's where we're at right now. I don't think so. If we are there right now, we've missed the boat, in my opinion. Timothy Johnson again. Sorry, clicked the wrong one, but I'll read this. This will encourage teams to make the conference championship and not skip it for an artificial bye. If you make conference championship as a Power 4 team, you're automatically in. Winners get a bye. Okay, that's for the promotion relegation. Appreciate you being here, Timothy. Let's see. I want to get to some more comments from people that have been watching. And okay, here we go. So he's teasing me. Bulldog's not serious about that. But it's not people have actually said that. Bulldog is the problem. People have actually said that stuff, and it's incredible. I don't even know what to do with it when they do. Jose in the house, coming in the back door. Great to see you, Jose. It's a luxury of the rich to say you don't need a 24-team CFP. I could not agree more, Jose. You're exactly right. The only people that want 12 or 16 team playoff, in my opinion, are those that absolutely know they'll be in it every year. And I'm not getting into a CFP thing. I probably should do a video at some point. You've got so many other people that have done it. But I just don't think, I think it's ridiculous. We're at a time now where NIL, transfer portal, MMR have spread out the talent enough to where an Indiana University Hoosiers win the college football national championship. That could not have been imagined 5 years ago. You could have placed a bet of $5 million to 1, and nobody would have even bet $1 on the idea that Indiana would win the national championship. Obviously, I'm being facetious, and that's why I asked the question earlier, and I'll ask it again. Did Indiana break the system? It wasn't TCU. It wasn't Boise State. No. Did they break the system? I think I could make an argument Indiana winning the national championship puts us where we are today. If Ohio State had won the Natty last year, a lot of this noise would not exist, in my opinion. Ryan Willie again, $5 super chat. The Axe game is the most played rivalry game. It matters to the fans. Yep. The vaunted Axe game, that's been Wisconsin, Minnesota. Right, Ryan? Sorry. If I got that wrong, don't kill me. It's hard for me to keep all those things straight. That's not my strong suit. But, yeah, I agree. Rivalry game. Look, it's not a rivalry game, people, if you wouldn't cut off your arm to win. That is not a rivalry. At least to Bomber, which would be me. Thank you so much for that one, Ryan. And I thought, did I miss another super chat? I just want to make sure. I am trying to drive this bus. Nope, that's all the super chats. Oh, wait. No, wait. Did I read this? Fergie, I'm sorry to say, but the NFL system is far better. No, I read that. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm getting it. I've gone 2 hours and 15 minutes. If you guys want me to stick around, please call in right now. 801-899-6203, 801-899-6203. I don't want to stick around if I'm not wanted. I want to hear from you guys. That's why I'm here. But I'll wait a few more minutes. If nobody calls in, we can just call it good. Let me continue to read comments, though. BYU football, that would be Shonsky in the house. Super BYU fan. I'm worried about non-conference games won't matter. I'm more worried about non-conference games don't matter, and that's all we see. We'll see our underclassmen getting reps, kind of like the NFL before the season. The games have to matter to keep fans engaged. So, Shonsky, let me reply that directly. If you have a chance, if you lose 2 games in September and you're not part of the SEC or the Big Ten, the chances you make the college football playoff without an expanded playoff are almost nil unless you win the conference. And you and I know that. because we're BYU fans. Got screwed the last 2 years, no matter what anybody says about it. Those games matter, and they're absolutely going to matter. And it is. I don't know if they got together and shook hands or they did a backroom deal, but the people saying that games won't matter, when you hear things like that, you need to run the other way. Whatever they're saying, you need to think the opposite, because that has nothing but ego and exclusion to it. And they want to keep the club as small as possible so that when you win, it promotes you even more. You're more elite because you're a champion of champions. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. People saying these games won't matter. Rivalry games won't matter. It is one of the most organized social media blitzes I have ever seen that isn't straight political. And it is political, believe me. SEC, ESPN, it's all politics. And it's identity politics, it's personal politics, it's national politics. I mean, that's just flat out bottom line. I'm trying to bottom line it for everybody tonight. You guys got fantastic comments tonight. Let me get to some more people. John Dry says, I would call, but I'm eating. I just got done cooking out some chicken, and Boudin made tacos out of them. Boudin? It's probably a typo. And something made taco. I don't know what Boudin means, John, but it's great to see you. Thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate you. Let's see. I would need to go up to get to some comments that I simply passed. To Townhawks taking advantage of my general ego that says you use my name in a post, I'm more likely to pick it up. He's taking advantage of me. Oh, Bomber, that guy Pollard loves a microphone. Yep, talking about Jamie Pollard, athletic director for Iowa State. Hide that again. Live call-in right now, 801-899-6203, 801-899-6203. Bob Swanger has been here from the beginning. Thank you so much, Bob. It's great to see you. He is the Nittany Lion, super fan of Penn State, who's rebuilding their program this year. It'll be interesting to see how Penn State does. They may be Indiana-esque. I'm just warning people. That team is going to be sneaky good, I think. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but that's my opinion. Marcus Williams. I'm sorry I missed you earlier, Marcus. It's great to see you. He's an OG member too. Marcus, you need to use your little super chat thing there. So you said how many years you've been a member, because you've been around a very long time, and I really appreciate you. Bro, the fact Indiana won is totally positive. That means anyone with money has a chance. I asked a question earlier, if you weren't here, was it a good thing for college football when Indiana won the national championship? It was a question. It was not a statement. Trying to get your feedback. I think you could argue it was both. I really do. I think the system is broken because of Indiana, but I think broken in a good way. Good changes can come from Indiana winning the college football national championship. But the reason the SEC is acting the way they are, if Alabama had won the national championship last year, if we were talking about college football playoff 24, I think they may come around a little bit. Now, ESPN is leaning on them, obviously, and they don't want to go to 24 because they'll have to share some the new games go on the open market, but maybe Fox picks them up or whatever. But I think this is completely different. If the Big Ten hasn't won the last 3 national championships, and if Alabama and Texas, et cetera, keep getting left out of the playoff, I believe that. So we'll have to see. It's all politics, though, Marcus. You got that 100%. Hoosier Dave checking in saying he was typing something and I lost him. Hoosier, I want to be on record. I was cheering for Indiana. I'm an underdog guy. I wanted Indiana to win. I'm just trying to find out from a systems point of view, is everybody happy about that? Big Lubbock. Why don't you ever call in, Lubbock? If you're still with me and it's been a long time, you need to call me at some point because we need to talk. I'm sorry I'm getting to this comment late, but it was just, it was buried. But Big Lubbock, first fan in my heart, if not anything else. Always fun to have around. Valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. Says Texas Tech is not part of the lawsuit. That is strictly between Sorsby and the NCAA. I'm not. If I misspoke and said they were part of the lawsuit, I apologize. I don't think I did that because I haven't made that association. I asked very clearly about Texas Tech. Is this what you want? Are you advocating for Sorsby to get off? That's a bottom line question. It has nothing to do with the lawsuit. Texas Tech just ruled him out today with the idea of leaning to get him back on the team. Texas Tech has made their choice. What do Texas Tech fans think about that? And Lubbock, I'd love to hear from you on it. Any Tech fans watching right now, call me, and I would love to talk about Texas Tech for the next little bit if you want to call in. 801-899-6203, 801-899-6203. Maybe I should just do troll bait and do a show and just say, Sorsby, Texas Tech, how you feeling? And just do a call-in show just on Texas Tech. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. I just, man, I am so lost. Skaven, yes, representing the Nebraska Cornhuskers. College football's better when Nebraska is great. Hateful Eight in Lincoln this week. Oh, that's right. Are they really? They're is it baseball? I'm not sure. Sorry, Skaven, yes. I apologize for one thing. I didn't say a name. Skaven, yes. Go Big Red. Member of the College Football Mafia family. Hateful Eight in Lincoln this week. I'm not sure what that's for. I'm sorry. That's coming at me a little out of context. I apologize. Michael Smith, good to have you here, Matt. It's great to see you. These kids care about making a mill or two before leaving college, joining the pros? Not so much, or at least not as much as you think. Here's a question for you, Michael. Anybody else you want to call in? Good comment, by the way, Michael. Great to see you. If Sorsby wasn't making $5 million on the essential free agent market in the offseason, is he already in the NFL? I think that's the real question. I definitely think if he wasn't getting $5 million, he would be in the NFL already. He would have been drafted. I don't care what else you want to sell me. You cannot convince me that what he's doing now is not for the $5 million that he's getting in MMR, NIL, whatever that number is. I will never believe that. No way. He was a first round or early second round NFL draft pick. Are you kidding me? Those are guaranteed contracts. There's no way Sorsby comes back without that. Absolutely no way. Conundrum. Earthquake? Where? In Lubbock? Okay. I'm sure that's in reference to him going backwards in all these comments, so I'm sure I'm getting him out of context. Let's see any more. Call me right now, 801-899-6203, 801-899-6203. All right, I'm going to zoom to the bottom, refresh, do a few more new comments, and I will get out of here if nobody else calls. Solar Knoll is replying to my diatribe. Gators are the perfect example of a rivalry game not mattering. They dropped Miami for UGA. It's why Gator tastes like chicken. You could also make the argument, Solar Knoll, that they didn't want they dropped it because they didn't want the risk and make it it's an aged rivalry, but if it really mattered, it'd still be on the books. Just like Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. Bedlam was the thing, and yet money has come through and broken every rivalry. Just because a rivalry isn't being serviced, though, doesn't mean it's not a rivalry. My point was, if it's a rivalry, you will care about it. Obviously, you can't beat somebody that's not on your schedule. So, let's see here. Timothy agreeing. Let's see. Thank you, Timothy Johnson, for forgiving me. I think each conference should have to play conference teams every game except for the first three, of course, and not put a non-conference game in the middle. Let's talk about everybody who schedules marginal games in the middle of the season. John Dry says, "Lol, Nate, I'll call for sure then." I'm advocating for Sorsby to stay and win a natty. Okay. I love that. That's fantastic. It's right here. Yeah, I've been showing the phone number, right? Haven't I? Let's go. There it is right there. Jose, 801-899-6203. Call in right now. Or else I'm going to get out of here. If you're still watching. Any more comments? All right, you got 30 seconds, Jose, and then I'm going to pop this thing. I've already been overtime generally. One more comment by Shonsky. I'm going to get out of here. Jose, it's 801-899-6203. Call in right now, or I am going to take off. Shonsky, I don't think the NFL takes him. The NFL is embedded. Whoa, I just lost it. The NFL is embedded deep with gambling organizations. I don't think the gambling organizations want Sorsby to play again. The integrity has to matter. People won't.
Call from.
They fight on.
Sorry, I didn't catch. Who is this?
Jose.
Jose, can you see? How you doing, man? It's been a minute.
Hey, I'm doing great, buddy. Good to talk to you again. Do you have me unmuted? Because the last 2 times I called, you always had me muted, and then everyone in the chat's like, we can't hear him.
No, this time I think we're okay. Somebody give me a positive thumbs up in the comments. Can you guys hear Jose? Because everybody else they've been able to hear.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I think I just waited.
I'm waiting for somebody to leave a comment.
Yeah. I think before I always called first, and the phones weren't quite set up yet.
Yeah, because I was.
And maybe that's why I was always muted.
Yeah. All right. So what's on your mind?
All right. Well, yeah, the 2014 playoff. It's just it's almost like reminiscent of whenever there's a big, presidential election going on, 2016, 2020, 24. You just see everything flooded and inundated with the media pressing one side of the issue, and then there's the other half, and it's completely divided. It's both ends of the spectrum. It's really no middle ground when you see these people with the blue check marks, like they're to the extreme on one end. And it's just, it's obviously coordinated. It's not organic.
It's not random, right?
No, exactly. And then the trend of, the ties that certain media personalities have, as far as current or prior or potential employer that they're trying to, be hired with down the road. They want to toe the line. So it's, ultimately, I think, Yormark should just come out and say, because he kind of like just half said it, 24 would be good. We'll consider it. We'll think about it. He needs to just come out and endorse it. Phillips isn't going to say anything. That guy is just like Klyakov 2.0 over there, just waiting for the ship to sink. He has no leverage, no pull, no say whatsoever. But I think if Yormark came out and said, this is what's really the best for college football, having everyone have a fair shot, proving it on the field, not be a beauty contest with media polls. Like you had, somebody ran what it would have been with last year's rankings. Yes. Number 14, Vandy probably would have lost to number 19, Michigan. And the SEC doesn't want that. Tennessee probably would have lost to UVA because they were red hot. Of course, the SEC is not going to want that. And so you're stealing opportunities from UVA and these other schools, BYU, that can, make some noise in the playoffs, bring notoriety for their school, and then boost recruiting, boost income, revenue, hosting a home game for the playoffs. I mean, how huge is that?
Yes.
Can you imagine that at the Cougar Stadium, prime time, hosting a playoff game?
I know. It would break the internet. It would absolutely break the internet. Yeah.
So, so they're trying to keep the status quo. Certain people don't want to lose power. And it's just, it's almost sickening. It's like you could see the disingenuous arguments where they use cliches and they don't actually prove anything statistically as to why. The new one is rivalry week. And actually, when you have a rivalry game, like at least when USC, we play the Bruins, records don't matter. It's 0-0 as far as we're concerned. We just need to beat the Bruins. We don't care if there's who's in the playoff race, what our record is, who's trying to win a conference or what. It's just we need to beat them to save our pride and retain our victory bell. Like there's nothing outside of that stadium that matters when you're having a true rivalry game. So if there's some folks out there that think that you got to have, playoff hopes or potential or something's riding on that game, then that's not really a true rivalry game. And that's not what a, rivalry is about. Yeah, it's nice when someone upsets their rival and they don't go to the playoffs, whatever. But like when the Holy War game, does anybody really care who's got aspirations for the playoffs? No, you just need to beat that other team, come hell or high water. When you're wearing the blue and the red uniforms, you just need to beat them. Doesn't matter. Exactly. Yep. That's what a rivalry game is. So if someone's trying to water down and say, oh, it's going to steal away from the rivalry game, well, then you weren't a true college football fan to begin with, and you don't even understand what a rivalry game is about.
First of all, thank you for calling in, and I've been talking to you. I could not agree with you more. You and I are on the same train. I think at the end of the day, change is coming. It's whether you're following and riding along with the tide or you're dictating. And I think it's just tiring people out. Jamie Pollard, I think, is indicative of how a lot of people feel. He's just the guy to say it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, it's just mentally exhausting. Like I'll go on to Twitter on my breaks at work just to see something, and that's all I see is, the Thamels and the whatevers of the world, just talking trash about like 24 CFP is, we're going to be taken over by some foreign country. Like it's the worst threat we've imaginable. The existential threat. Like what is the term they used to, the soul of college football is riding on this. No, it's already changed. Once the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that players can get paid, the new era had begun. And now we got to accommodate that. Schools need more money. The players and the university need more exposure. And it's just following in line. It's just natural progression of the evolution of college football now. And everyone just wants to, when they had that presidential roundtable, somebody said, I wish we could just go back to where they only got scholarships. Like some people in their brain, they're stuck in their old ways. They're not willing to evolve and progress. And they're just going to have to move on. If they truly, don't like the college football, what it's going to become, then maybe they do need to go find something else and leave college football for the rest of us.
Thank you for being the voice that is honestly, I could not, I just can't, you can tell I'm speechless because everything you're saying is spot on. And I love hearing it from other people. Rivalry games matter.
Yeah, it's like BYU 10-2 BYU, but all I kept hearing was 9-3 Texas should be in. We need to go to 16, and I felt like throwing up. I was like, am I hearing this right? Was my TV broken? Like it was just absurd, the arguments that were coming out right around playoff time.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's exactly what it is. There's one slide, and I posted it in the comments. I'm trying to get it to, just give me 1 second, because I'd love to ask you about this. I wonder if this will let me save it as a different thing here. Just give me 1 second.
Sure, take time.
Probably trying to do something I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, I'm on your time. You kick me off when you need me to go, buddy.
No, that's okay. That's not it. I wasn't prepared. I wish I was. There's a display, and I posted the link. You guys can see it. I just put it in the comments. Yeah, in my opinion, the rivalries, it's all straw man arguments. It's all red herring. They're trying to distract you from the simpleness of a 2014 playoff because they don't want to share. Right? They don't want to share, and because of that, we are where we are. So I don't know.
Yeah, when every time we played Notre Dame, we weren't in any contention for the postseason, and whether Notre Dame was or not, it didn't make any difference to us. We wanted to beat them regardless. Like It had nothing to do. Like everything just becomes like you're in a bubble. Like when you're in a true rivalry game, all you want to do is beat your opponent, walk away with a W, and then, and celebrate for the rest of the week. Like nothing even matters. It's kind of like you're in a different realm or dimension. That's a true rivalry game.
I completely agree with you. I think that's what defines it. And at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to change anything is somebody big has to make a decision. And then
I'm afraid we're going to be stuck with 12 for next year as well.
That would, I'm telling you, if that happens, I'm going to go on a hiatus or something.
Because the deadline is what,
brutal.
December 1st?
December 1st is what I've heard. They have to settle by December 1st. And this is the last window. The next time we talk about this is in 3 years or something like that. So it's all or nothing right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and
that's where the urgency comes from. And
it's absurd that ESPN has to approve it, because even if, like how much power do they hold over college football that, needs to be brought out to the light, that it's been kept in the dark and in the back alleys, and people don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes. And they just regurgitate the same rhetoric that they see spewed on the TV at them on the cable network. And they don't really even think for themselves critically.
Well,
it's just,
yeah, you get people like Greg Sankey and everybody else there who says, you know what, maybe we'll just play ourselves and have our own champion, or maybe we'll just do it with the Big Ten. But my contention has been, I'm not sure if you were with me at the beginning of the show, but my contention is, I don't think there's enough political muscle outside of media money and media partners. I don't think there's enough political chutzpah to have any type of a P2 breakaway. I think the 48 number is way too low. It needs to be an additional 12 teams at least. And I just don't see how many. We did this earlier. It's total of 22 senators. Is that right? No, it was 44 senators. If Daniel
44.
did the math right, regardless, that's less than half, right? So they're all begging. They're all begging Congress to bail them out for an antitrust exemption and the SCORE Act and all these things, but they might come in and swing the hammer. The representative from West Virginia, one of them might come along and filibuster and say, we as a nation will not allow this to happen. We're not going to give you an antitrust exemption, P2. We're not going to allow you guys to have all these tax write-offs and all these things. We're going to withhold those benefits if you guys try to break away and do your own thing. You have to have at least, and my minimal number is 60 teams, 60 schools plus Notre Dame have to. That's my minimum. I might be completely wrong, but that's how I see it.
And football can do it on its own, because there's never been an NCAA college football champion awarded a title in history. If you look it up on Wikipedia, it's called a mythical national champion, because there's so many teams and so few games that they can't justifiably say this is our Division I champion for the NCAA. But that's the definition. Before the BCS, the computers, when you had number 1 versus number 2, it had always been called a mythical champion. The NCAA has no ties with whoever the champion is. That's why they have the CFP created through BCS LLC. So the football can simply just break away on its own, form its own league. I don't see what the issue is. We just got to.
And I would be a proponent of that. I would support that if you break away, and then in some way, shape, or form, there has to be some sort of a measuring stick to whoever breaks away in that league. But I could see that happening. But I can't.
And the simplest form is just take the P4 and the remnants of it. Once the ACC gets picked apart by the vultures, whatever's left, it really would just be a P3. Down the road.
That's where I think we're going to be personally.
Yeah, because the lacrosse, the tennis, the water polo teams, the whatever, they're going to still need to be affiliated with the NCAA and have, associations and, have, tournaments established and funded, because the sports themselves aren't properly funded on their own through their own revenue. But yeah, football just needs to break away on its own. and have a P3 league.
I want to share this because I think the old axiom, and you've been here from the beginning, is that let's see. Sorry, I just lost my thought. That realignment is eternal, right? People would love to talk realignment forever. It's one of the things that we started talking about, certainly after we moved up from the Holy War. But this comment from Tatanok, I think, is where we're at. We're reaching a point of no return. I have hit a realignment talk saturation. I don't want to hear about it anymore. Breaking news: if someone moves, okay, but I'm sick of projecting and guessing. As being somebody, Tatanok, who's in it every day, I care very much about it. I'm even getting tired of it. That's why I love having the legal people on. That's why I like interviewing other people, is just for that reason, right? Is let's hear from the people actually making decisions, not us idiots out on YouTube.
Yeah, and that's the thing with antitrust. If there is a breakaway, then for just football,
yeah,
all the 3 leagues would have to form
yes.
some kind. They have to coalesce and come to an agreement. Yep. This is what our rules are going to be.
It's exactly right. New governance.
Yeah,
new governance.
Exactly. And then just those 3 leagues have their own CBA with the players.
Yes.
And then once the players are bought in, yep. And then once the players agree to it, then you have your antitrust protection. There's no worry about lawsuit. But you have to form that league. And I've always been a proponent of making them employees of the conferences, not of the schools. That way their status remains as a student for the school, right, but an employee of the conference. Now that leaves Notre Dame out and hanging out in the breeze, but that's neither here nor there. Not my problem. What Notre Dame, right?
Notre Dame will be in regardless. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But well,
and that's what they have to do. I'm going to let you go, Jose. But
right,
thank you so much for calling in. And I just want you to know I affirm your opinion. I think we have something has to change. I 100% agree with you. We'll see you later.
Absolutely.
Thanks for calling.
Yep, my pleasure, Nate. You have a good night.
You too. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. He is the Jose, super fan of the College Football Mafia family. Before we go, and I guess I'll give everybody 15 seconds. If you want to call right now, I'll quickly display the phone number. Otherwise, I'm going to get to one item. I can't remember how to share it while the phone lines are up. It won't work. It used to work, but 801-899-6203, 801-899-6203. Let me check super chats. Have I missed anything? The Town Hawk asks a question. Do blue check marks mean anything anymore? Not really. They really don't. As somebody that has one, that's invested in one, they're really not paying off. John Dry says the P2 loves to talk about Texas Tech and BYU. Yeah. Tatanok, Nate, is KU at BYU this year? I think so. If I remember right, it is a home game. I don't know about. All I know is we got to beat Kansas. They beat BYU twice in the last 3 years, and it screwed us up. So I'm not into that. That needs to change. So KU's on my hit list to Town Hawk, just so you know, but in a good way. Timothy Johnson, that's almost exactly what I was saying earlier. You don't need to control the 138 teams. You need to control the 10 conferences. That just makes things easier to manage. And I would follow on to that. That's great, Town Hawk. If you're coming, man, let's get together. Yeah, let's definitely do that. The 2014 playoff, a lot of people say without the conference champions, every one of them, that would be 10 plus Notre Dame. There is no CFP, and I see that argument, and in a way I understand it, but I'm also a little on the other side that says I don't know. It's not really apples and apples anymore, and that's talking from a school that's in the middle with everybody else. That's all I'm going to say about that. I don't have enough time for it. But Timothy, thank you very much for bringing that up. That is another solution. 10 conference champions plus Notre Dame into a 2014 playoff. I will also say this. By the way, and I forgot to turn the phones off. That was stupid. Next week, I will have The Jeremiah Dickey. If you don't know who he is, look him up on Google. Jeremiah Dickey is the athletic director of Boise State. All I do is big interviews around here. Tonight was super assistant AG in Florida to Danielle Kelley. That's her name and what she represents. I interviewed her for the first half hour. We talked nothing but college football, organization, laws, rules, real things. She is the assistant attorney general for the state of Florida. We talked states' rights. We talked federal rights. That first half hour, amazing. Next week, Jeremiah Dickey. I'm not sure I'm going to get him for a half hour, but he's going to be here with me. Jeremiah Dickey's the AD of Boise State. And if you don't think he has opinions on all this stuff, people, I don't know what else to say, because having him on at this time is almost ironic that we're talking about this now. I've chased this interview for 2 months, not because he wouldn't do it, just because he's so busy. It's going to be amazing to have him on. But this is what I wanted to share, and I hope it'll come up. It didn't come up. Maybe I can make it whole page like that. Okay. This was made by Bud Elliott CFB on Twitter. Look him up. Bud Elliott CFB. He does amazing graphics. I love it. I don't always agree with his takes, but at least they're informed. And I've fallen in love with this slide because these are simple facts. As your parents always told you, you can't argue facts. He poses the questions: how many teams left out of the 12-team CFP would have made it in a 24-team CFP? If we're going on the last 2 years, 2024, 2025, the SEC would have had an additional 6 schools in. The Big 12 would have had 6, 7 if you count BYU twice, which, by the way, I know, and BYU, they're the only school on this list for getting screwed out of the CFP for twice, 2 times by the CFP committee. The ACC would have gotten 4, which they've gotten 3 already, but they would have gotten 4 more and they wouldn't have been tied. We're talking about schools that would have gotten in without winning their conference championship. You see Virginia's on that list. Syracuse is on that list. I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this slide after the show. I'll share the slide. You guys can check it out yourself. The American would have gotten 1 extra team in. Notre Dame would have been in 1 more time, which nobody's surprised about. Mountain West would have actually had somebody qualify outside of Boise State, which won, and then they earned their way in. 23 unique more teams would have been involved, and there would have been 24 extra bids in those 2 years. So I don't even know. I cannot make it any simpler. I will post this in the comments. This is absolutely, it's just black and white. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is participation, and it's not participation trophy. Anybody telling you it's about a CFP participation trophy is gaslighting you. I don't care who they are. It's complete gaslighting. Every game matters. Rivalry games matter. People will not sit out to get a better CFP. The only way that happens is if at the end of the season, everybody has an FCS game. The SEC kind of cheats and does have one in the last 2 or 3 weeks. But other than that, which they were already sitting starters regardless of the CFP, nobody's sitting anybody. Every game matters even more. 23 unique schools would have been in those 24 spots. The only reason it's not 24 and 24 is because BYU was counted twice. That is a fantastic graphic. I thank Bud Elliott. I sent him a DM. That is an amazing thing to bring up. And I will repost it so everybody has access to it. But that's my bottom line, is the CFP needs to go to 24 teams. And that they could leave it at 24 teams forever at that point. If you expand it, fine, whatever. But the SES has done it for, 900 years or something. Everybody else has a playoff format that is formal and final. If you want to talk about percentages, the NFL has 14 playoff teams every year. They have 32 teams in the NFL. College football right now has 138 teams in the technically playing in the same division, and yet only 12 teams go to the playoff. That's just a little under, if I do the math right, a little under 10% of the entire college football gets to be in the CFP. You are absolutely lying to yourself if you're telling you, say people will sit out. Games don't matter. Season games don't matter. People will rest people that aren't already tied to off weeks, i.e. SEC, a few Big Ten, or anyways. The game will never have starters stopped or sat, and the game never matters. That will never happen. Clip me, burn me, do everything you want to. Take my quote and put it out there if I'm wrong. But I think the facts are proved that the more teams involved in a playoff, the better visibility you get, and the more interest you're going to get in the regular season, not the rest. And this will be the last word I say about the CFP. Right now, if you lose 2 games in September and you're not Notre Dame, the only way you get in the playoff, anybody outside the Big Ten and the SEC, I should say, you're not going to get in. Obviously, the G6 gets one, and they earn it every year. I think it's great, and I think they should have one. But you lose 2 games in September, your season is pretty much burnt, unless you come a rivalry game or a big TV game. That's my bottom line, and so nobody will ever argue with me, Ari Wasserman and those guys. They say let's talk, and then don't respond to DMs. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I almost have gone 3 hours, which is crazy. Haven't done this in many, many, many moons. So thank you for keeping me interested. Thank you for having these conversations. I don't think I've missed any more super chats. I'll quickly shout out everybody that did a super chat or gave memberships. Evil Badger, Fergie, FF18 Bus. Let's see here. MBM, the Oklahoma State Cowboy. Kenneth Maynor, who can't make up his mind which school he wants to represent, Florida State or Eastern Carolina. Mosito, earlier in the show, $5. Appreciate you, Kenneth Maynor, again. And then the Earl Carr gave 21 new memberships to the College Football Mafia channel. Thank you so much, Earl. If you have a membership now and you didn't before, right now in the comments section, I implore you, thank Earl Carr in the comments for giving you the membership. You got something for free. Take advantage of it. Go into our library at College Football Mafia on YouTube. All your member videos, fantastic. Love to answer questions after the show. And we take all super chats all the time. I really appreciate everybody being here tonight. I again want to give a shout out to, I'm a super fan of, where did I type her? Sorry. Let me get Danielle Kelley right here. Was the guest of the show, assistant AG for the state of Florida with the Antitrust Enforcement Division. If you don't understand the import of that particular department, antitrust is where college sports are there. That's one of the biggest issues, antitrust, and how players get paid, how to treat them. So Danielle came on and answered some good questions. So guys, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm going to take off. I would tell you, if you think about somebody tonight you haven't thought of in a long time, send them a text, give them a call, because I guarantee you they will appreciate you reaching out to them. There are more people living in the darkness in this social media world. I've taken it upon myself to, try to advocate. My best friend called me tonight. We don't talk every week, but when I hear from him, completely redoes the way I look at my week. I think you can have that same power with other people, especially if you haven't talked to them for a while. Just send them a text. It only takes a second. Completely free. We're not counting texts anymore. And I promise you will appreciate it. Also, if you received a membership, karma is real in the world. If you get something for free and don't pay it back, pay it forward. I'm not responsible for what happens after, but I'd recommend you buying a membership for somebody else. Yes, It's for us, but mostly I want people to understand that reciprocalness is what keeps us going. So you guys have a great night. Stay out of trouble. I will see you Friday night. Oh, no, I won't. I'm off this week. College football, big freaking Friday. I am off doing a family thing, going to a river dance, actually. I've never been to a river dance. That's cool. But I will see you here next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Jeremiah Dickey will be joining me, the athletic director for Boise State. So I'm going to say peace out. Go Cougs. Everybody stay out of trouble and hug a family member. We will talk.